Two buttons, red if you're on YouTube, purple if you're on Twitch. One thing I want to talk about real quick is we are also on all the audio platforms as well. You should see it in this graphic here. Literally, we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Spotify, iHeartRadio. If you guys listen to podcasts on a platform and you notice we're not on that platform, hit me up on social media, email me, whatever. Make a comment on the YouTube. Let us know, because I want to make sure that we can have the podcast on the audio side wherever you guys listen. I also have some announcements to make. I'm super excited about this. Last couple months I've been super hard at work trying to get this album done for you guys. And the people who are going to get first access to this, I put the link right here. That's going to be the people in the Patreon. So make sure you guys are aware of that. Go to patreon.com/JaredSingerLive. You get first access to everything as we start doing some cooler and cooler shit this summer, as well as bonus content, discounts on merch and stuff like that as we start to roll all that kind of stuff out. So make sure you go there. That's where the biggest supporters. If you've already subscribed, if you've already done that and you want to step it up a notch, you can join for as low as $3 a month. It's not a lot of money, especially with inflation going up. I didn't raise my prices. Still $3 a month. And there's a couple other tiers in there too if you really want to go crazy. All right, we got some ad reads we got to make. Let's get this done. This episode of the podcast and every podcast we do here is sponsored by Tone Vault Audio and Media. Tone Vault Audio and Media was formed as a recording studio business by musicians in active gigging bands. Doing work over the years in multiple facilities as well as in a mobile fashion, simultaneously while playing in live gigging bands, the Tone Vault staff has developed the experience to know why quality, performance, and longevity of cables is important, as well as the demands needed for a great go-to top-of-the-line product for all your professional project needs, as well as live music application. We tried all kinds of cables, and of course we have our favorites. They, however, tend to have a price point that's not so favorable. So we decided to craft our own and make it a little bit more wallet friendly without sacrificing quality. We use these cables ourselves for our studio and music projects, and that includes me. My entire drum set is wired up with these, and we're currently in the process of rewiring the entire podcast studio. They offer a lifetime warranty with a 30-day, zero-risk, money-back guarantee. If you don't like them within that first month, just return them. After that 30 days, it's a lifetime warranty, just like any of the other big names. 24 karat gold contacts, 99% oxygen free. You know the deal. They're absolutely phenomenal. Extravaganza listeners can also use the code 15SINGER, that's 15SINGER, for an extra 15% off any purchase. So go to www.tone-vault.com/JSE and join the Tone Vault family today. This episode of the podcast is also sponsored by Marco V Cigars, the official cigar of the Jared Singer Extravaganza. In 1909, an Italian immigrant named Victor Vito landed on American soil. Despite only having pennies to his name, Victor smoked a cigar to honor his pursuit of opportunity and success. Starting with that first cigar, a tradition was born. In the Vito family, cigars came to represent pride in accomplishments and optimism for the future, and they still do. More than a century later, Victor Vito's great-grandson Marco honors his heritage with Marco V Cigars. Marco and his team's commitment to quality, flavor, and construction have established the company as a premier boutique cigar brand. Every step in the Marco V cigar making process is shaped by a drive for perfection. Farmers in the Dominican Republic and Nicaragua tend to their crops by hand, and the planting, harvesting, and curing are carefully guided by Marco V's tobacco experts. Dedicated research and testing have resulted in a leaf that cures with a rich, complex flavor. Each blend is aged for years to enhance the tobacco's deep natural sweetness, and every bale is inspected 6 times before the cigars are rolled by hand, never put through a machine. Quality still comes from the hands of the artisans. After a final inspection, the cigars are packed and shipped around the world. Overseeing the entire supply chain guarantees that every Marco V cigar yields the perfect celebratory smoke. Victor Vito's 1909 cigar represented pride in himself and his achievements. More than a century later, Marco V honors Victor's legacy with the highest quality cigars on the market. Create your own tradition, salute your achievements and your successes with Marco V cigars. Exclusive for Jared Singer Extravaganza listeners, just for you guys, same deal, baby. Go to marcovcigars.com and use checkout code extravaganza15 to get an extra 15% off of your order. You can order my personal favorite, which is their Palladium, or you can order what I'm smoking on right now, which is their Maduro House Blend. Extremely affordable to begin with, and y'all get another 15% off this motherfucker.
I'm making a shit ton of money, but I'm not enjoying anything. I don't get to go home. I'm hardly at home.
Yeah. Who started that band?
Rock Godz?
Yeah.
kind of branched off of another band with a similar name. So actually it was their original bass player, but he was doing some shady stuff, and eventually they had to. The singer went to another one of the biggest bands in Minnesota, and
Are you talking about Monsters of Mock?
he was in that band,
And then he went to Hairball?
yeah. So
I don't know who you're talking about, but I somehow know this story.
Yeah, so when he went to that band, when he went to Hairball, booking agent started stealing the shows from the band, and then Sam started contacting his booking agent. You're going, why are our shows getting canceled? Like, well, I haven't been paid I haven't been getting paid, so I'm not going to try to protect your shows. And he's like, what? So he found out that the original guy was pocketing all the money that was supposed to go to the booking agent. So they had to change the name, and he didn't want to be part of the band with this new name. So I joined up with them, and
that's when it got changed to Rock Godz?
Yes.
Gotcha. You guys were rocking for quite a while. Were you in another deal called like Sunset Strip or some shit like that?
So me and the drummer of Rock Godz, the original drummer of Rock Godz, were in Sunset Strip. And now Sunset Strip was started with him, and that branched off of another band with a similar name, and it was the same shitty situation with that same bass player.
Was this Chon?
Yeah, Sean.
Sean? I call him Chon.
Yeah, Chon.
I refuse to call him Sean because he spells it Chon. It's Chon.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Sean. I see what game you're playing, buddy. And then, wasn't Jason Reed in one of those bands with you for a little bit too?
No.
Or did they play with you one night, or did you fill in for his band or something? Because I get confused because one night, there was a short period of time about 10, 15 years ago, I had to move back in with my parents, and they live in Circle Pines, and there's a bar right up the road. There's a few of them in that area, several actually. But this one in particular that I'm talking about is called Bamboo Betty's.
Yes.
And so I showed up at Bamboo Betty's, and out of nowhere, you're on stage playing. And I just start laughing hysterically. And there's a bunch of random people sitting around. They're like, what the fuck's so funny? I was like, I fucking know that guy. And they're like, who gives a shit? I was like, never mind. This is a whole thing for me. Because like you and I came up in the actual real music industry together. Yeah. And I was joking with my wife before you got here that you and I were very similar in age and like where our bands were on the totem pole on the rung. Like we were the opening bands for all the bigger real bands. The difference is you were in with the cool kids. So you were tight with the Black Flood Diesels and the American Head Charge guys. So you were with the cool kids from day one essentially. And so you guys were playing, and I'm talking about A-Pod in case anybody's confused. So you were playing like literally you were opening First Ave main stage. I remember that. When we were barely getting on shows. Was it just once? It seemed like it was a pretty regular thing, but regardless.
No, it happened one time. And there's a funny story about that. Go ahead.
Well, I was just saying, like, we were struggling to get opening gigs at Star Central and The Rock. But
oh man, I miss those places.
Our bands were similar ages. I think your band was like maybe 6 months older than mine. Like you had been around for 6 months longer than us.
Well, A-Pod has been around since like 97.
Oh wow!
Actually, probably even earlier than that.
Okay, so I'm way off then. You guys have been around for.
I wasn't in it until 2003.
Okay, and that's about when my band came out, 2003, 2004.
Okay. Yeah, so I knew Luke, the guy who pretty much created A-Pod. I used to go see them. I was a big fan, like right after high school, I'd go see them at the Red Sea. And
the fucking Red Sea.
He left to go back to England for a while, and then Aaron Zilch went to Mutate with Steve Wolf, and then eventually went to Head Charge. And then Luke moved back, and I just happened to be downtown Minneapolis catching a bus from one place to another, and I saw him, and I was like, "You're Luke from APOD." He's like, "Yeah." So we started talking, and I hooked him up with the job, and we became friends for a while, and then randomly out of nowhere, we both kind of left that job and didn't talk for a while, and then one day I was just like, I wonder how he's doing. So I sent him an email back in the day before.
Texts weren't super common back then.
Yeah, because you didn't have cell phones back then. Well, I did. He didn't. So it was hard to keep track of them. So I sent him an email. He emailed me back. He's like, "Hey, I'm DJing over here. If you want to come watch." I'm like, "Cool, I'll come out." So I went out and watched him. Then we all hung out, and then we got inebriated on stuff, and and one day,
the liquid varieties,
not the liquid stuff. And then he asked me to join the band. I'm like, all right, but we're gonna get big this time, because at that time APOD went through kind of like a struggle phase where it was really just him and another guy for a while, and this is after Aaron. This is post Aaron, because the band was originally started with Well, it went through a few different phases before Aaron. My favorite was with Aaron and Allie, and they both played keyboards. And then,
didn't you guys have Mike Rocker on drums too?
Yes, we did.
And B came and stole him from you boys.
Yeah, they sure did.
Which is kind of understandable. It's like
we're like, well, how are we going to keep him?
Right, that's exactly my point. It's like when a band like B comes and takes your drummer, what are you going to do about it?
No.
It's like that scene from Friday when dude just straight up steals his bike.
Yeah, so yeah, when that happened, it was kind of he was going to play drums for both of us. And then we got to practice one day, and our roadie at the time,
was his name Ron?
His name was Jason Redente.
You remember roadie Ron?
No. Sounds familiar.
Go on. I'm sorry.
Jason Redente, he passed away a little over a decade ago. But we get to practice, and it's just him and Mike Rocker, and we all show up, and as we're going into the room, he's like, "You gonna tell him?" And then Luke's like, "Tell us what?" And he's
Tell
like,
us what?
Yeah, exactly. So Mike's like, "Well, I have to tell you guys that, B's gonna have a lot of shows coming up." I'm like, "Cool, maybe we should open." He's like, "Well, they're gonna be big shows opening for other big acts, and just wanted to let you guys know that, if there's a time where I have to decide between which shows I'm gonna play, I'm gonna value theirs more, and I have to take them more serious than I do with this band." And this, so Luke just quickly jumped to
you gotta have mad respect for him for being that honest, though, dude.
He was beating around the bush slowly.
But the fact that he's even willing to say that, though, do you know how many people are just straight up cowards and they just ghost you, or they just quit because you know what I mean, or they come up with some other reason?
Well, we had his drums in our space, so he couldn't just quit.
Still, though, you know what I'm getting at. Like, at least he has the respect to tell you, like, "Hey, man, look, dude, here's the deal." Maybe his delivery was beaten around the bush, like you said.
Oh, yeah, it totally was. But
he's still like, dude, listen, man, if I have to choose, like, I got to take this band more seriously than APOD. Like, I gotta. Like,
yeah.
I actually would have more respect for somebody being willing to have that hard, difficult conversation with me rather than trying to worry about how I'm going to feel about things. You know what I mean? Which it sounds like he tried to kind of have it both ways and beat around the bush a little bit. But keep going.
But so his plan was to try to stay in both bands, but take more priority with B. And then Luke was like, "You're quitting, aren't you? You're quitting." He's like, "No, that's not what I said." He's like, You're quitting. Just quit. We're done. I don't even want to practice." And we didn't. He just left, and Luke was just all pissy. And I believe we went out and drank that night. And we went through Oh man, we auditioned probably like 10 different drummers. And I don't know how I found these drummers. Every single one of them I found, and one of them was a guy I met through somebody else at Poison with Motley Crue and Skid Row opening. Well, not just Vince Neil, it was Motley Crue, but
right.
I ran into this guy. I met him at Chris Emery's house because he was dating
Chris Emery from Head Charge.
Yeah, he was dating somebody that was roommates with him. And I met the dude, and he seemed really cool. And then I ran into him at this show, and I just kept running into him. I ran into him at a party somewhere, and I was like, "Hey, you in a band?" And he's like, "Not right now. You know, I've been talking to these guys." I'm like, "Dude, my band needs a drummer." So we went in my truck. I played him the songs, and he's like, "Yeah, I guess I could do this." And you know, we got inebriated. And after that, you know, I had a pretty good relationship with him.
Is that Johnny you're talking about?
Yeah, yeah. And he was my boy.
I love Johnny, man.
He's
Johnny
great.
and I go way back.
He's great shit.
He helped me become a drummer.
Oh yeah?
There's two people in my life that are really, really responsible for being extremely helpful in regards to me becoming a drummer. One of them is Johnny, and the other one is Rich Zazada from Skywind.
Oh sure.
Johnny borrowed me an electric drum set to get going, and then Rich sold me his acoustic drum set, which is still the Thomas Starr Classic I play to this day, for just a crazy, amazing deal.
I love watching him drum because it's all backwards.
Yeah, because he's left-handed. Yeah, it is pretty wild. It's nice because you can kind of mirror him when you're trying to like watch him and learn. Like,
oh, okay.
His right hand, his left hand, right? It's the same side as my right hand, so like you can kind of mirror him like that instead of trying to flip everything in your head and play it all in an actual mirror. I think I said that backwards, but you guys get my point. And then Johnny and I ended up sharing a rehearsal space together. He was in a band.
How long ago was this?
This was like, God, it had to be 2010-ish. Somewhere between 2008 and 2012. And I don't remember what band he was in, but it was City Sound St. Paul. And we ended up sharing a space together. And then I ended up using his drum set to record the Tyrants demo with. Like, just an extremely generous dude. Just an awesome human being, man.
Oh, yeah.
We ended up having a falling out, not because of anything that was happening between him and I specifically. I ended up managing a band he was in called 14 Clicks.
Yes.
That completely fell apart.
Click, 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 click.
He used to make fun of him for that. Click, 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 click. It was the fucking singer. It was the girl. It was, what's her name? I don't even remember her name. It doesn't matter.
I don't know anything about that band. I never.
She was a pain in the fucking ass. That's all you need to know about that band.
I think I kind of got that from him. He suggested one time that he will never be in a band with another female again.
It's tough. It's tough, man. Because they genuinely need a lot of like
attention. Not
attention, but like it's extra, you know? Like
it's a different
they have
level.
Lady business to take care of, you know what I mean? Like they have certain things they need that dudes don't, and
yeah, usually musicians
just makes things difficult sometimes.
Usually musicians are more about like, oh man, I can't get the right tone out of my cab. I can't get, we're talking about gear, and girls are more concerned about, do my shoes match my dress?
Yeah,
how should I wear my hair?
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my god, what? Don't talk to me about that. I don't know.
I mean, I'm not hating on it. I'm just saying it is extra. It is extra stuff. So everything you have to deal with a normal bandmate is still there. Plus, there's extra stuff because she's a woman. Like, it will always be part of the conversation. Seriously, it's just, they even say it. They're like, well, I'm a woman. I need ... It's like, fine, cool. I get that. But then you also have to understand there's a large group of people who don't want to deal with any of the extra, because being in a band with 4 people, 5 people is hard enough as it is.
Yeah.
Anything else that makes it more difficult. And you know what's almost the equivalent is like if a great band member has a shitty girlfriend or spouse. You know what I mean? Where it's like they almost think they're in the band.
Oh my God, that's
you're
the
not
worst.
in the band.
Oh, that's the worst.
Like your opinions are literally irrelevant to us. Like you're here, so we're nice to you and like we like you, but you don't actually get an input on how we write these songs. You don't actually get an input on the album artwork or whatever. You know what I'm talking about? And most I'd say 90% of the time they're cool. Everybody, boyfriends and girlfriends, all that shit. But dude, sometimes, man, they'll fucking brainwash somebody into it, and then they get diva mode. And I swear to God, that's what breaks up bands. That's why we call people Yoko still to this day.
Yep.
That's why we still have that joke, man.
Yeah, I've been in the situation where we had, I'm not going to say who, but his ex-girlfriend was our manager, and it was bad. Wally was actually a part of it at
Really?
that point. Yeah. Do you know Wally was in our band for a while? Sunset Strip.
Oh, I know exactly who you're talking about.
We don't need to mention any names, but we had one of the members' girlfriends. It was not.
But it rhymes with Steve Bannon.
What? No.
So it's not Shannon?
No. No, it wasn't. No, not her at all. No, but yeah. So it comes down to like a control thing. Like really, what she was doing was booking our shows. She did a phenomenal job at getting us booked at places and getting our feet in the door at places, which we could have easily done ourselves, but it made us look more professional to have somebody who's obviously not us do it. And plus, probably the fact that she's a woman talking to these owners that are probably male, most of them are male, usually gets us more attention that way.
Right.
At least that's what we thought, and that's what she made us believe. But then she comes down to
which makes sense.
Other ideas of what songs to play, and you guys should go more of this direction. We're like, no, that's not us. It's like telling us how to dress and stuff, which looking back, she probably wasn't wrong, but
it's interesting too, because a lot of managers do the exact same thing we're talking about. Just like they eventually think they're actually the 6th band member or whatever. And it's like, I've heard certain people talk about this, like, and they are, and your manager is your 6th. And I'm like, no, the fuck they're not. Like, dude, no, you should be able to replace your manager. And it's not like replacing a singer or a drummer or a guitar player, because those things can truly change the musical identity of your band. If you change your manager, it should have zero impact on your songwriting or your musical identity. Maybe the business doesn't run as well.
And I've never had a band manager.
A real manager?
I've never had it. We've never had to have a band manager.
We had glorified booking agents. Would you agree?
Yeah, exactly. I never had a band manager other than her. That was the only band manager I've ever had. And at first it worked out good, but it gets annoying, constantly being asked where you are, what your ETA is. It's like on our way. I don't know. Because that was back.
We didn't have GPS back then.
Yeah, we didn't have GPS. Get there when I get there. Leave me alone. I'm not Jefferson.
Yeah, and it sucked too, because like it was one of those things where you'd be on the road, they'd fucking call you or text you, because we did have cell phones, but we didn't have GPS like we do now. So you'd be like, so how far are you? You'd be like, I don't know, 20 minutes. And then you show up 30 minutes later, and they're mad because you're 10 minutes late now. And you're like, man, I just guessed. Like, I didn't actually know how long it was going to take. Like, I was just guessing. I said 20 minutes. What the fuck, dude? I know exactly what you're talking about.
And I'm never late. I'm the person you never have to worry about. It's always the singer.
Dude, it's always the fucking singer.
If it's not the singer, it's the drummer.
That's one of the things I used to lose my mind with my old singer about, was because not only was he late, he didn't think it was important. So he would literally say shit like, he'd be like, I'm late. And I'd be like, dude, you needed to be here at 6. And he was like, bro, I had things I had to get done. And I'm like, I literally remember trying to explain to him, it's disrespectful because you're saying that your time is more valuable than ours. And he goes, oh, we just fundamentally don't agree on this. And it was like, I don't think this is going to work out long term because this is going to affect our band negatively someday. If there's a producer sitting there waiting for an hour for you and you don't think it's a big deal that he's sitting there waiting, like, dude, the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, I'll talk mad shit about him. His name's John Diley. Fuck him. I don't give a fuck. Fuck John Diley. Yeah, but fucking, you were also in, I remember that same period of time, that same era, Brenda was in the band back then as well.
That was a funny situation. So when I joined APOD, we were basically building APOD over again. And so it was just me and Luke.
Yeah.
We were looking for a drummer, and we got Johnny to join. Or no, I'm not Johnny. Mike Rocker. We almost got this other guy who was at the same studio, and he had a room, I think, right next door to Skywines. Somewhere by Skywine. It was just some guy that lived there and had this tiny, tiny studio, like probably half the size of this room. And he played his drums, and he was really good. He was old.
Where was this? Was that Profile, or was this
Profile.
City Sound Northeast?
It was Profile. And
was he next to like fucking Boogie Wonderland or whatever the fuck they were called?
I don't know. I don't know where they played. They must have never been there when I was there.
Okay, anyways, go on. Because I think I know this dude, the one you're talking about. Did he live in the space?
Yeah, he tried out for Alicia Keys and almost got the job, but they went with a different guy that was skinnier.
Yeah, short little dude.
Yeah, he was really good, but
he was amazing.
But he wanted money, and we're like, well, we don't make money.
Yeah,
we're lucky to play shows. So we were partying with the guys from Stigma, and we were going to try to steal their drummer. And then, like, the next day I was working, and I get a call from this guy, and he's like, yeah, my name's Mike. My friend Derek says that you guys need a drummer. I'm like, yeah. He's like, yeah, I'm a drummer. I'm like, I got a drummer calling me? I'm like, sweet. Okay, cool.
A
he's
good
like,
feeling back
and
then.
he's like, yeah, I've been playing for this long, blah, blah, blah. He's like, I was like, sounds good, man. Yeah, I'd like to. What's your last name, Mike? He's like, I'm not kidding you. My last name is Rocker. I'm like, no kidding. So we hooked up with him, and things went well.
He was such a great drummer.
He was amazing.
He's one of my favorite local drummers of all time. Him, and do you remember the dude from Quiet Drive? I can't remember his name. God, that kid was a banger. Fucking absolute banger. Can't remember his name. Not to save my life, but Mike Rocker, I'll never forget that dude's name.
Yeah, that guy, apparently he hands out Bibles now.
Rocker?
Yeah. Did you hear about that?
No, I know he left B a long time ago because his wife got a job in California or some shit like that.
Oh, I didn't even know he got married.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
it's something like that, or she got a promotion or shit.
Because
he followed his wife or girlfriend or whatever.
His old roommate was this guy named Ian that did. He's a sound guy, and he was like City Page's highest. He was voted highest in some poll in the City Pages for like the mixing guys.
Crazy.
Yeah. And he told me about him. He's like, yeah, he stands outside of bars now, hands out Bibles, and tells everybody that they're sinning and that they need to repent for their sins. I'm like, what?
That's unfortunate.
What? You talking about the drummer that we had that used to draw penises on the walls everywhere you go?
I've never wanted to be more like Mike Rocker in my life. Because I'm also a drummer, and I'm okay. I'm pretty decent.
But yeah,
I'm a good live drummer. I'm a really good live drummer, and I also draw cocks on everything everywhere I go.
So fast forward back to Brenda. Luke was talking about how all we need now. Well, I think we played a couple shows with him. It was just as a 3-piece, and I was playing keyboards. I was playing a distorted sound that's kind of sounded like guitar on the keyboards. But it sounded like a digital guitar. That's the sound I was going for. I even had it go out of an amp, and every time we play somewhere, sound guy would try to give me a line. I'm like, no, you need to mic my amp. Like, why? Like, Trust me, just mic my amp. And then you'd hear it come through. He's like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah. You get that guitar kind of funky. Anyways, he was like, we just need to get some sort of bass, like a keyboard bass, or you know what? Because his ex-girlfriend used to play the keyboard bass for them back when it was just him, Aaron, and Allie. Like, we just need to get a hot chick to play bass or keyboard. And I was going to practice. I think I was in 6. Might have been, no. Well, I was in 6 at the same time I was in A-Pod. And
a metal band 6?
Yeah.
Really? You were in that band?
Yeah.
That's hilarious. I didn't know that, man.
Yeah, I was.
I knew you were in a lot more than the 3 or 4 we put in the description.
Yeah. I was in 6 for, I think, 2 years, maybe. So I was on my way to practice. I might have actually, I'm not sure if it was A-Pod or 6, but it doesn't matter. I saw Brenda and Nick, who's now with Powerman 5000, I think. Not sure if he's still with them, but
I have no idea.
What was their band name? I think they were called 13 Dead.
That vaguely sounds familiar. Amanda's in chat. She might know.
But, so I was just walking by and I saw the 3 of them waiting to get into space because their band was sharing a space with somebody. It's just the common thing you do. You're so broke when you play in these original bands.
Yep.
And then I was like, is that yours? Pointing at her bass, and she's like, yeah. I'm like, you play that? She's like, yeah. I'm like, you're in with these guys? She's like, yeah. I wasn't sure if she was a girlfriend or if she was in the band. So she's like, yeah, I play bass. I'm like, my name's Tim, and my band A-Pod is looking for a bass player. So if you're interested, you should hit us up. I just did it right in front of them. And I gave her a CD, and apparently they took the CD and they trashed it, and they were making fun of us. They hated us. And I guess eventually, a month or 2 down the road, they broke up. And we were on our way to a show, and she went on our message board. If you remember message boards.
Yeah.
She went on our message board and was like, hey, I remember a guy named Tim talked to me about joining this band, and I'm really interested, and I'm gonna go to your show tonight, and I'm gonna said something along the lines of, if you don't notice me right away, you're gonna notice me. So she showed up and she came up to us and started talking to me, and she's like, hey, do you remember me? I was standing outside. She was like, she dressed up for it. She's like dressed up in a skirt and everything to catch our eye and everything. And she's like, yeah, so do you still need that bass player? I'm like, yeah. She's like, I was like,
so who was playing bass for you in the meantime?
We didn't have one. We just tracked it.
Oh, so you were playing to a track?
Yeah.
So you had a tracked bass player.
Oh, we had a sampler.
Hey, at least that was there. At least you didn't go on stage without a bass player.
It was, yeah. We pre-recorded a lot of stuff.
Smart.
If we didn't have somebody to play it, so I brought her to meet Luke. I was like, hey, Luke, this is gonna be our bass player. He gets all standoff. She's like, oh, really?
Oh, really?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, really?
So her mom starts dropping her off. So like, her mom brings her over to drop her off at my apartment so I can teach her the songs.
Yeah.
And then I find out she's only like 14 at the time. I thought she was 19. I was like, you shouldn't be here. I'm like, oh my God, you're 14? I was like, oh my God, this is, your mom dropped you off.
Yeah.
I was like, wow. So, we gave her a shot, and it was probably, she was really good for the band. I mean, she did everything. She made our video for Stung. She did that while she was in high school. She did it at her school.
Crazy.
Yeah.
She
She did a really good job.
She ended up out in L.A.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking, I think she's doing modeling or some shit now.
Yeah,
I don't think she kept going with music.
No,
I know
she
went
did
to
not.
L.A., but I don't think she kept going.
No. I still talk to her once in a while. She just visited last year, I think it was. So I actually live in the small town that she grew up in, oddly enough.
Really?
Yeah.
You want to say it on the internet?
I don't care. I live in St. Michael.
St. Michael?
She lived in Albertville, which is basically the same.
Yeah, that's
city.
up. That's up 94, right?
Yeah.
Yep, way up there. I think that's where Jeremy Blake's from. That's where that piece of shit John Diley is from. Yeah, I don't even try to fucking follow that awkward silence up with anything anymore. Fuck John Diley. Fucking troll. Fuck that guy. It's my old singer. If anybody's curious, like, yeah, singer from the Tyrants. Creative genius. Garbage human.
Because it's not important. That's just that. I can't understand that mentality. I had things to do. How do you have things to do on?
I had things I had to get done, man.
You don't need to have things to do on the day of your show. I understand if you have a job and you have to work beforehand,
right.
But when you're done, you're devoted to the band.
Yeah.
Everything needs to be from the time you hit that clock, get to the show. Go. Dude, go.
I'm telling you, man.
Stop at Guitar Center and get your strings. Get there.
In this business, when your entire career can hang in the balance of you pissing off one person, basically, like, it really can be that easy where you piss off one person and your entire career is done. Like, it really can be that small. And so it's tough, dude. It's a tough business in and of itself by default. Your first job as a musician is to not add any more baggage or drama into that to make it even harder for you and your bandmates to make it. Because that's the thing, is there's 5 of you. So every single one of these things I'm talking about is just amplified and exacerbated by each person you add into the mix. The drummer, the guitar player, the singer, so on and so forth. And those motherfuckers can end your career too, because you just happen to be in a band with that motherfucker. And yeah, fuck John Diley.
Oh man, the singers I could put on blast.
Do it.
No,
it's not like anybody watches this fucking thing.
I will tell you. So, when I got into the cover band scene,
hold on, let's not skip too far ahead. So we're getting through the funny APOD stories. So one of them we have to get to is you finally get the lineup together, and you guys get the opportunity to open up First Avenue.
Yeah,
the main stage, the real deal.
Oh God!
So how did that come about? Because dude, that's on people's bucket lists, like, of lifetime achievements.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't even played main stage.
So Aaron Zilch was originally an APOD. That was his first band, and Brian was actually an APOD too. Mini Beef 333.
I don't think I remember him.
You don't remember him?
I think so.
He's the one that passed away.
Yeah, I don't think I knew him, like, at all. Like, I don't think I ever met him. Like, I remember that he died, but I don't, like, remember him. Like, I don't have any memories or conversations with him. I just know that he's the dude that...
Oh, man, he's... There's some funny stories with him. He was in... I'm not sure if
he OD'd on the bus, right?
Yeah. He was in the band at the time. So, Aaron got us to open for them. So, I'm pretty sure that's how that went down. Yeah, Aaron got us that gig. And it was so much waiting around. There was people from that camp that weren't all ready to sound check at the right time. They get on stage and Chris got up there. He did his shit. Justin and Aaron did their shit. The guitar guys did their shit. Cameron was taking the longest. I don't know why, but he was up there. I think he started playing keyboards in this for like 5 minutes, and sound guy's like, Cam, I can't check your microphones when you're playing keyboards. Can you just get to it? And then there was, I don't know what else happened, but it was just taking forever, and we eventually didn't get a sound check. They were just going to give us a line check right before we go on. We're like, So they're like, what kind of lights? Everything else is all professional. Like, what do you want in your monitor? What do you want in your monitor? What do you want in your monitor? What color lights do you guys want going through your set and all this stuff? And so all this is going on. I'm just like, oh my God, I can't believe this is going to happen this way. This is going to go down. It's so unprofessional. I'm like all worried about it. Like looking outside, I could see everybody outside standing in the cold waiting to get in. I'm just like all excited. I'm like, oh my God, I'm just like so nervous and just jittery. So I start drinking. And I didn't eat. I don't even think I ate anything.
You were the guitar player in this band, right?
No, I was the keyboardist.
Oh, keyboardist. That's right. That's right.
And at that time, we didn't have a guitar player. It was just bass, keys, drums, samples, and
that's right.
So I got getting hammered real quick, and by the time I remember the curtain going up, and the next thing I know, I'm getting kicked out of oh yeah, because I remember going up on the stage and I had a beer fall out of my pocket, and Conrad, fuck Conrad,
fuck you, Conrad,
fuck you, Conrad. I'm gonna piss on your fucking star outside of there. He doesn't deserve a fucking star. Fuck that guy. He sees me going up on the stage. And he grabs me. He's like, "You're wasted." I'm like, "So?" He's like, "You're out of here when you're done. As soon as you're done off the stage, you're out of here." Sure enough, he kicked me out.
Wow.
So I don't even remember how I got my gear, but I was fucking inebriated. I was falling around on stage, and people were throwing bottles at us. People fucking hated us. Hated us. They're like, "What the fuck is this, a rap group?" They thought you would have thought that we were Limp Bizkit. Right. These people, the American Head Charge fans did not like Limp Bizkit.
Right.
And they thought, they hear Luke rapping. They don't understand that this is industrial music. It's heavy. It's not.
Nothing back towards you. Spinning on you.
It's not Limp Bizkit. It's not another Limp Bizkit band.
Right.
At all.
It was weird. You guys were like industrial
hip hop
ish, metal ish hip hop. It was interesting, but it definitely wasn't. Definitely wasn't Limp Bizkit. It definitely wasn't the new metal.
I mean, yeah, it definitely wasn't new metal at all.
Even though you played with all new metal bands, because that's what all of Minneapolis was doing at that time.
We played with death metal bands. We played with a lot of death metal bands.
I suppose there was death metal that was still.
There was
around.
a lot of metal. I'm trying to think of a band that wasn't like that we played with. I can't really think of one.
Oh my God, Amanda's in chat. She's reminding me I cockblocked Brian. That's right. So I didn't know who he was, nor did I give a fuck, because I was dating this girl Amanda at the time, right? This is at Star Central. And that's Amanda in the chat.
Hi, Amanda.
This is 20 years ago. I think you know her. And so I'm dating Amanda, and I see this dude like talking to my girl, but he ain't just talking to her. I see the look in his eyes, like he's thirsty, right? And I just don't like this vibe, right? That's my girl, right? So I walk up, and I literally just walk up and I go, "Lay off my Kool-Aid, motherfucker." I'm not joking, dude. I'm not exaggerating at all. "Lay off my Kool-Aid, motherfucker." And bro, the look he gave me was like two things. Don't you know who I am? With at this, but in the same exact moment, he's also going, "Is this dude gonna murder me?" Like he was so taken aback. He had no idea how to respond. And dude, I don't remember exactly how it ended up like fizzling out or whatever, but I just remember I turn around and Amanda, she goes, "Do you know who that is?" And I go, "No." And she goes, "That's dude from American Head Charge." And I go, "Well, shit." And she goes, "No,
I just fucked myself."
She goes, "Thank you so much." She was not enjoying the conversation. That's all I remember. But yeah, it was one of those like, yeah, you just fucked yourself. Like that's what I was talking about earlier, right? Like one false move, you mouth off to the wrong person, you piss off the wrong guy for any reason. including being late or telling someone to lay off your fucking Kool-Aid. Fuck, dude. That's fucked. So you're hyped up, dude. You're getting bottles thrown at you while you're on stage. What is that like?
I wish I could tell you, but I don't quite remember. I don't remember that. I honestly, I remember the curtain going up, and I don't remember. I think I saw silhouettes in the crowd of people, but I couldn't see faces, and then just a big blur. And then
so you started drinking just out of nervousness?
Yeah.
It wasn't fucking irresponsible partying intentionally. Like, oh, fucking rock stars, let's party. You were just nervous, trying to calm the nerves down. Got way out of hand way too fast.
Yep. Drank way too fast. And I wasn't that big of a drinker either. I was pretty young.
Yeah, we were all pretty young.
I was really young. I was drinking more than I was supposed to be. And I thought I could hang, and I think I probably had like 6 beers.
So you said you only played First Ave Main Room once. Do you think that had anything to do with it?
I think the crowd reaction had more to do with it than anything. What's weird is we did open for Head Charge in 2014, I think, at 7th Street, oddly enough. I don't know why it wasn't at First Ave. There was nobody playing there, but we opened for them at 7th Street, and the tickets were like $30. I was like, really?
Yeah, it's probably draw requirements, right? So like they had a certain nut they wanted, but they knew they weren't going to be able to draw enough.
They would have. They would have.
That big room costs a lot of money to run, though.
I honestly don't know any of what was going on for that, but we opened for them, and we had a really good crowd reaction when we opened for them. It was just me, Luke, and Aaron. We didn't have a drummer. It was just the 3 of us, and we did an old school A-pod style, and it went over really well. Then the first time we went there, nobody was having it, and it was just weird because
did you guys ever get booed off stage?
That was the only time. That was the only time.
That's like one of the only things that's never happened to me.
We didn't get booed off stage, but we got booed the whole time while we were on stage. We didn't get.
You didn't quit. We
didn't quit. No, we kept going.
The worst that I've ever experienced was dead silence. Like it was dead silent between songs. It was dead silent when we were done. Like
I played a couple shows like that. I've played more.
And ironically, it was in the heaviest band I was in, and it's because we weren't heavy enough. Yeah.
Oh man,
yeah, it's crazy. Because like you'd think, being the pussy band of the night, that those guys would talk shit or boo or fucking whatever, and they just stayed silent. And it was like we couldn't get off stage fast enough. It was so awkward. It was so weird. I've never experienced anything like that before in my life. But one of the things that definitely also added into it wasn't just that we weren't heavy enough. So we were truly a metal band playing with all hardcore bands. All those hardcore bands were all kids, and they were all straight edge. And I wore a hoodie that said, "We'll work for beer."
Oh, no.
It wasn't until after the show I put it all together and figured out what was what. Oh, man, it was embarrassing. That was probably the worst show I've ever played. What was the worst single show you remember playing? Even if it wasn't getting booed off or anything crazy negative, what's the worst show you remember and why?
Oh, man. Well, there's so many.
If there's one that you could do over.
One I could do over would be the one at First Ave. I would definitely redo that one. That's a big major I wish I could have been sober enough to remember it at least. Right. I was pissed when I found out that people were throwing bottles at us. I saw video footage of it. I was like, "Oh my god. People are throwing fucking bottles, like glass beer bottles at us."
Were you throwing blood and dirt at that show?
No.
No, that wasn't you. There's a question in the chat. Were you the one throwing blood and dirt at that
Blood
First Ave
and
show.
dirt. Oh.
That sounds like something the fucking Black Flood dudes would do, or the Head Charge boys would do. Especially the Head Charge boys, especially if it was way back then when they were doing all kinds of crazy shit on stage, like with the TVs and all
yeah,
that
I remember
shit.
seeing them at I think it was an X Fest. Maybe it was Ozfest. I'm not sure where it was. It was one of the two, and they played the main stage, and when they were done, they threw a pig head out in the crowd. Some girl caught it, thought it was just a stage prop. It was an actual pig head that they got. They had 4 pig heads hanging from chains, hanging all the way from the top, like the rafters or whatever. And when they were done, Aaron and Cameron started throwing these pig heads out in the crowd. This chick, like a little bit in front of me, catches one. She was all excited. She flips it over and she realized it's a real pig head. You should have heard the scream come out of her. It was amazing. I was like,
oh my God, dude.
She was like, "It's real!" It was the best thing ever.
Oh my God, dude. See, being a rock star and playing big ass shows, to do crazy shit like that, that's the top, man. That's literally as great as it gets. Now, maybe if you're not trying to literally gross people out, that's fine, whatever. But it's shit like that where you would never be able to do that in any normal scenario ever, except when you're a fucking musician killing it in front of a big ass crowd. Then you can pull some wild ass shit like that.
There's a place in Luck, Wisconsin. My old band Rock Godz played there. It was in the very beginning of our days. That was a horrible show.
Luck. I remember Luck.
I can't remember the name of the bar, and I don't think we have a chance of ever going back there because we didn't enjoy ourselves and they didn't enjoy us.
Do you remember Milltown, Wisconsin?
Mm-mm.
You never played Milltown?
I don't know.
It was the guy owned a pizza parlor, and it was like an old theater from like the Old West. And so there was a tiny pit where it was like the fucking play, whatever, and it had a nice raised stage, nice size stage, because it used to be like a playhouse turned into a pizza parlor. And they would pack like 400 or 500 kids in that place. And it's not too far from Luck, if I remember right.
No, I don't think I ever played there.
Oh man, that place was awesome. That's like the opposite of what you're describing. Like that's the place where if you could recreate any of those crazy weird shows, Milltown was one of the best. Milltown was definitely one of the best. What was so bad about the Luck, Wisconsin show?
Oh man, the stage. So the stage is like that high, I think.
Oh, like 6 inches.
It's just a step.
Right.
And during regular normal business hours, it's the upper deck for a dining spot, and they have these banisters or something that they remove part of it, but then they have these poles that just stick up. So my side of the stage was probably about the size of this, and I had to share it with my amp. And then,
so it's like the urban wildlife stage.
Man, I miss that place.
Small stage though.
Yeah, but it was a fun stage.
It was a great stage, but it was tiny as fuck. I remember being in a 5-piece band and not being able to move.
Yeah, if you're in a 5-piece band, yeah, that could be a problem.
I mean, I couldn't move. I was the lead singer, and I was literally just trying to be like this, because I had one guitar stock next to my face right here, and then I had another dude's shoulder right here. I couldn't do any. I remember it like there's no tomorrow. It was the worst. I love that room. It was a fun stage. It was a fun place, but being cramped like that on stage for a guy like me is the worst.
I remember hanging out with Aaron from Nuisance Crew. We went to go see Smiling Liar there, and their guitar player was doing this insane karate kick from the stage. So you know how you have the stage, you go backstage through the side of that stage, like you just walk back there. Right?
Where was this?
At Urban Wildlife.
Yeah, so you went. It was right next to the stage, right?
There was a wall, so there was a big open space to it was a walkway, right?
To get to the backstage, right? Right next to it.
He's jumping off the stage, does some karate kick into the wall, and pushes himself back to the stage.
Oh,
he kept doing that all night. We're like, what the fuck is that karate shit?
That's fucking cool.
It was slick as fuck. I'm like,
that is cool as shit, dude.
Now looking back, I'm like, how the fuck did he know exactly where to land his foot? Because if if he would have just hit the right spot in the drywall and got his foot stuck in there, that could have been a way different story.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah,
unless it was all solid. I mean, maybe he knew something I don't know, but
maybe. Who knows? I mean, fuck, dude. Those old buildings, a lot of them are just built out of straight concrete.
Isn't that a Cowboy Jack's now?
I don't know.
I think it's Cowboy Jack's now. Yeah.
That's the one right across from Luce, right?
Yep. Yeah, because I was just there.
Yeah, and that's where I do get nostalgic, is the urban wildlife, because that's when we had a scene that was truly dope as fuck. Because I remember when Spanbauer booked us there as like the Prove It shows or the tester shows, and it was like, okay, draw 50 people on a Tuesday night, and then I'll book you at one of the real clubs, including urban wildlife, on like a Friday or a Saturday night. And he had us do urban, not necessarily in this order, but it was like the urban, Red Sea,
I remember the Red Sea. I love
Station 4, but they were all weeknights, like literally Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And they were his little prove it gauntlet. You kind of had to prove your deal. And obviously he wanted 20 or 50 people there. That was a big thing for him, was like actually drawing numbers. But there was something else he was looking for too, and I'm still not 100% certain what he was looking for. Like,
you could text him.
I'm trying to get him on the podcast, but like,
what's the deal, Joe? Get on here.
I'm wondering what he was looking for. Was he looking for a band that just shows up and treats people with respect? Was he looking for a band who will still put on a good show even though there's nobody there? That's what I'm really curious about, because he used to do that shit to us. But here's what I'm getting at. He would book these Prove It shows on a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday at 3 or 4 different clubs across town. Dude, and like by the end of the night, these places would be packed on a Tuesday, Wednesday, or a Thursday night. Like, they were good fucking shows. I distinctly remember multiple times playing on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at the Urban Wildlife, and it's fucking full for us as the opener. Like, I remember this. It wasn't very often, but I do remember it happening, because Minneapolis was still known as a town where you could go out any night of the week at a multitude of clubs and see any handful of dope bands, like on any night. And that isn't true anymore.
Yeah. Oh, no, not even close. I mean, not, and especially now, with half of everybody still being paranoid about catching coronavirus. Nobody wants it's different out there.
Even if you eliminated COVID from the deal, though, like, the hip hop scene is thriving, and that's about it. Like, the other scenes are surviving and they're still there, but the hip hop scene, like, they throw some banger ass shows.
Oh yeah,
dude.
yeah. I've seen video.
Yeah, it's crazy.
They have like legit festivals for all these like underground groups that are coming up, and it's like, wow. You would think that every single one of them are atmosphere shows. Yeah,
they did a fucking this was before he got fucking Me Too'd, but
hold on a second. I got it.
Yeah, piss. Go piss. If you guys have questions, now would be a great time to start throwing them in. Hold on, let me do this and go like that. Bow! Yeah, throw your questions in. We'll start working them in. I think Cowboy Jack's is behind Luce versus the old Urban Wildlife spot. Maybe. I don't know. But either way, we need more clubs like that. We need a really good club downtown. A really good smaller club downtown. Not named First Avenue or 7th Street entry. That's my deal. That's what I think. Because without that, it's just a hodgepodge of suburban fucking bullshit. Nobody wants to go to the suburbs. Like, if you're on the other side of the suburbs, nobody wants to drive across downtown to go to fucking Fridley. I'm not saying there's something wrong with Fridley. You got to think about it if you're from Bloomington or Burnsville. Those guys don't want to go to Fridley. And same thing, in Fridley, you don't want to drive down to Burnsville to go see a show at some fucking TGI Fridays. And that's the thing, is they're not even real venues anymore. They're bars and restaurants that do music. What we're talking about, when Tim gets back here in a second, we're talking about real music venues. Like, that was their point, was live music. And then they served food and alcohol. But yeah, I don't know how much of that you could hear from out there, but I was saying, dude, if we could get one legitimate small music venue downtown not named First Avenue or 7th Street Entry, I think it'd be huge. Because people from Burnsville don't want to drive to Fridley and vice versa. I mean,
especially now. I mean,
they just don't.
Back then, since then, they've lowered the limit on how much you can drink. Because back then it was like anything above 0.1. Now it's down to 0.08.
Yeah.
Which means like half of a drink. But
well, guys,
and then the sentences are stronger. Plus,
everybody has jobs.
Remember back in the day, you could smoke in the clubs, and then when they took that out,
stay super close to that, by the way.
When they took out the smoking, as much as everybody says they love it, that ruined a lot of people going out to shows.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
And I know there's a lot of people out there going, "Oh, it's so amazing now that you can go out and it's clear." And yeah, there is that, but we didn't go out to the bar to be healthy. There's nothing that goes on in a bar for your health.
True.
You're there to get wasted, get drugs, or get a venereal disease.
Great point.
It's supposed to be fun and dangerous.
These are great words of wisdom, my dude.
And if you're there to eat food, guess what? That's not healthy either.
This is some of the best advice you guys will ever receive on this podcast. Say it one more time for the clip. For the clip. We're going to rip it and clip it. You go to the bar, not for your health.
You don't go to the bar for your health. You go there to get drunk, get a venereal disease, or get drugs.
I love it, man. That's fucking awesome. Because it's true. It's true. Like, if you're going to the bar to look for a wife, you're an idiot.
Oh, no.
You're an idiot.
That's where I met my wife. I met her at a bar. We actually got married at a bar. We got married and had the reception right there, too.
No shit.
Yeah.
Me and my wife had our first date at a bar, for sure. Once we decided we were going out on, like, a date. Yeah, I took her to Psycho Susie's. Oh, man, we got fucked hammered.
That place is awesome.
Yeah, it really is pretty dope. Like, a lot of people love to hate on it, including myself, because it's like the hipster place, and like they love to fucking be condescending. And
see, I must have moved out of the cities after this whole hipster thing took effect. Because what exactly is a hipster now?
It's very well defined. It's like,
is it supposed to be like a tourist that moves in that you can't get rid of?
it's like a young millennial. Well, not young anymore. Now they'd be like an older millennial. So us, our generation.
I am Generation X.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
So usually they dress like they have like an alternative fashion style, like goofy facial hair, alternative political views. So a lot of them are like libertarian or communists or whatever the fuck, you know. Like they don't fall under your typical banner of anything. Like one of the biggest giveaways for a hipster is the goofy facial hair and the goofy glasses. They literally look like a steampunk from 1940.
Okay,
like that's a hipster.
I must not see these people. I must not be hanging out in the right places. But then again, I don't really go to the cities for much of anything, unless it's like a concert or.
They're harder to spot now. The hipsters, because it's not in fashion. Hipster.
Gotcha.
I don't know what is in fashion now, but it's not good.
I don't really pay attention. I'm straight out of 1997.
You never evolved past 97?
I don't think I have. I don't think I aged. I don't think I realized that the millennium happened.
I'm wondering if that was in fact the last great era of anything, was the late 90s. because it's right before the modern day version of the internet really kicked in. We still had the internet, but it's not the same as it is.
You know, I kind of
changed twice. It changed in 2004 and then it changed again in 2012.
I kind of miss when the internet was slow and harder to deal with, and you had to go on message boards to find out what people are talking about. And it was like all this hidden stuff, and then people go to shows, and you could tell who knows and who doesn't. It's like you could tell who the posers are, and because there's this underground chat thing going on. And it was like a underground, like if you really liked that band, you knew what was going on with that band, and then you go and see the band, and you could tell who really likes the band based on how much they know about the band, because they go on this message board and they And now everything's on Facebook and nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah, and it's interesting.
Everybody's a rock star now.
Well, and now because everybody has equal access to everything, including advertising and promoting and congregating.
Which I don't mind.
Well, hear me out, though. The problem that arises from it is there's no... So, for example, back in the day when you wanted to put together a band, even in the internet, there was only really a couple places you could do it when you're looking for members, right? And I'm talking online. You could still go post your fucking literal shit at Guitar Centers. You could still take out an ad in the city pages. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about online. There was really two places to do it. Craigslist. There was a whole section for musicians seeking other musicians on Craigslist. And then it was musicplace.org. So,
see, and I never had to use that.
So, but here's what I'm getting at, because you were already running with some dope circles, but I'm just talking for your average 16-year-old that wanted to put together a band. There was only a few places to do it, so everybody kind of funneled towards that, right? It was a good place for everybody to congregate. Kind of like back in the day when the only thing to do in the summer was go to the beach. Everybody was at the beach. You were pretty much guaranteed to have a good time, right? But if everyone is able to put a metaphorical beach in their own backyard, now no one ever needs to go to the beach, so no one ever does go to the beach, so there's never anybody at the beach. That's what I'm getting at. So now you don't need a musicscene.org or a Craigslist to find musicians, because you could just put up a Facebook post.
That's what I did.
But the problem with most people trying to do that is there's never enough musicians that you agree with or think like or want to collaborate with. In that, see, you run it and I run in musician circles, so it's a lot different for us. We just fucking make phone calls sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't even have to make the Facebook post, right? But that's not how most people get into.
Yeah, see, most of my bands are like bleeding from another band. So I would run with, if I went to a new band, I would bring along this guy that I worked with before from another band, or this guy from another band. I mean, I did that a lot with APOD and ADD. Like, ADD had a lot of the same members that were also in APOD at some point.
So what was ADD versus APOD? Like, obviously lineup differences, but also sound-wise, like, what was it? Was it just a straight-up evolution of APOD, or...
With not as good music. So the way I guess I would describe APOD is kind of like Atari Teenage Riot meets Rage Against the Machine. And ADD is more of Nine Inch Nails meets Rage Against the Machine, I guess. There's less rapping in ADD. There was a few different phases of ADD. There was I don't give a fuck, I'm just gonna write a song and put stupid lyrics to it and be like mindless self-indulgence. And then there's the let's take this more serious, we're starting to get fans, let's write real songs and not write drum loops that are impossible to actually play by drummers, and take it more serious and be more closer to sounding like Nine Inch Nails. So ADD, I actually came up with the concept in 97, and it was based off of a bus that goes to the Mall of America, because I was trying to get I had a friend talking to me on a cordless phone, and you remember those things would pick up your neighbor's conversation if they were on it.
Yep.
So I'm giving directions on how to take a bus from Brooklyn Park, and I'm like, so you take the 5D to downtown, hop on an ADA, that'll take you to the Mall of America, and then from there you take this bus to, and I'm trying to get them, I can't remember what city we were in, but all of a sudden there was a big mix-up, and the phone started scrambling. I started hearing the neighbor talking. The neighbor's hearing me talking. I'm like, no, not the 80. And then I hear my friends like, 80D? I'm like, not 80D. 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 No. Like, shut up, you have ADD. What bus do I need to take now? Like, the 5D to the ADA. I'm gonna write that down. I like that. So I came up with that name from that conversation. There was no ADD bus, but I wish there was. And that was before the light rail, obviously, because you used to have the express bus that would run on Nicollet Mall, and it would go straight on the freeway, and just it had its own lane. It would just fly past everybody on the freeway and get to the Mall of America.
Yeah, I remember we never had traffic problems when I grew up. Like, traffic problems showed up, I remember, in my mid-20s. Like, you'd have traffic jams every once in a while if there's an accident or somebody pulled over. But, man, like, we had that population boom over the last 15, 20 years here, man, and it really fucking created a lot of congestion. And, dude, I swear to God, the entire Twin Cities fucking highway system has been under construction for 10 consecutive years.
Oh man,
you know what I mean? Like,
longer than that,
dude. It seems worse than LA. I hear people talk about LA all the time, and I'm like, man, Minneapolis is pretty fucking bad, dude.
I've been watching them. I swear, 35 between Richfield and where Richfield ends and Minneapolis, downtown Minneapolis begins. That whole stretch, I swear I've watched that whole thing be done, redone, rebuilt, changed. Like, I think they had the light rail running through that, and now they don't.
Yeah, I don't
get
understand what's going on. All I remember is the original plan for the light rail. It was supposed to be dope, dude. Like, literally, it was supposed to be amazing. It was gonna go from downtown Minneapolis. It was gonna go up to, I can't remember if it went straight to St. Cloud or if it split off, but it was going to go to definitely St. Cloud and then Duluth. And I don't remember if it did that in a natural Y pattern or if it hit St. Cloud first and then went over to Duluth. But then from St. Cloud, it was going to go all the way up to Fargo. And then from downtown Minneapolis, they were going to run it in and eventually merge it with like the Amtrak train line that gets you all the way down to Chicago. And it does go pretty fucking fast when you get out of the Twin Cities. Dude, that light rail, man, you can go from like Coon Rapids to downtown Minneapolis in like 8 minutes. It's pretty dope. But then it stops, so it starts sucking once you get downtown. They turned it into like a bus instead of a subway, which goes like a few miles. And that's the thing, is like, we don't really have a big enough city for a bona fide train system like that.
Well, we do now.
I mean, we do now, but now the fucking, what do you call it? What am I thinking? Not the interface, but like the whatever. It's not there anymore. Like the way they planned it out to do it originally, and they set not the foundation,
the infrastructure.
Like the infrastructure. The infrastructure's not there for it anymore. The way they've remodeled the city and done shit, it's like they didn't remodel the city to help the light rail. And when they built and designed the light rail, it was for a city literally almost 20 years ago now. So by the time they got that fucker done, and then they didn't finish it. It like barely runs from fucking here to Coon Rapids, like, or I think Anoka or something like. It's stupid, dude. They need to completely fix it. By the way, speaking of, did you know there's a whole conspiracy about the original trolley system in Minneapolis?
No.
So
I was curious whatever happened with that, because I see old pictures of that.
Yeah, so we had a really effective trolley system. And then some New York stockbroker looked at he somehow got his hands on like our city budget or whatever, our fucking budget sheet or whatever, and he saw that there was a place to make money. there. And he saw that it was like wasted potential, or however you want to refer to it. And so he came in and convinced the city of Minneapolis that he could run it more effectively for less money and be more efficient, blah, 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 under the MTC. And so they privatized it and let him get a bunch of buses. And now it's so unprofitable, it's government subsidized. Like, we pay for it all with taxpayer dollars.
Wow.
And then we gave the MTC control over the light.
See, so we basically effectively bring back the trolley system and call it something else.
And they charge for it. Like, it's
still not making money.
And
it doesn't use gas.
And I'll tell you what, it's essentially a great metaphor for the people that run the city of Minneapolis and St. Paul.
It's a distraction. Look at what I'm doing over here, so I can do this over here.
Yeah, and they still think like that and do shit like that still to this day. They're idiots. The people that run the Twin Cities are actual fucking morons.
Oh, yeah.
They're definitely the dumbest people in the country when it comes to leading a city. Just absolute idiots, dude. And it's shit like that. That's a perfect example.
Now, I heard something about I heard the reason why they got rid of the trolley. I heard that they had trolleys in a lot of cities that they got rid of because the tire companies weren't making enough money, so they wanted to get more people driving vehicles so they could sell their tires. I don't know. I don't even...
Maybe.
Some old guy told me that.
Maybe.
Probably some bullshit.
Shit, that might be true.
Probably the same guy that tried to tell me that Rob Zombie was the original singer for Golden Earring.
That's hilarious, man.
Somebody told me that Rob Zombie was the guy that sang Radar Love. I was like, what?
What if that was true?
I looked it up. It's not.
I know, but what if it was? Wouldn't that be like the most mind-blowing transformation of all time?
No. And I was actually surprised to find out that Radar Love and Twilight Zone were the same band.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, they don't sound like the same band. They sound like two completely different bands.
Yeah, two different bands. Well, I mean, to me, it sounds like two different bands, like 5 years apart. I don't know when those songs were written compared to each other, but it sounds like the same band, but like very different eras of the same band, if that makes any sense, just stylistically. Oh, yeah. But
one is clearly from the 70s and one is clearly from the 80s.
Yeah. That's a great way to put it. But it always reminds me of Billy Idol.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's just, I don't know what it is. It just always reminds me, like, Golden Earring, just always.
Flush.
It's the same vibe to me.
For fantasy.
A white wedding.
Love Billy Idol.
There was a fucking another band I was just thinking of a second ago when we were talking about, because I was talking about crazy transformations. What if it was actually Rob Zombie who did that? Because, like, you remember Maynard James Keenan was in Green Jelly.
Jello.
Green Jello.
They never changed it to jelly. They just put the Y with the asterisk over it. That's pronounced O.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Is it? So it's still Green Jello?
Yeah. That was their clever way of saying, fuck you, Kraft, we'll change our name. Still gonna be sounded the same. It's just change the letter.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah, him into Tool, and then
he basically had everybody in Tool record that first album, and Maynard was just doing backup vocals. I don't think he was officially part of the band. Maybe he was.
He wasn't the original lead singer of Green Jello.
No. That's Bill Manspeaker.
Yeah, greatest last name of all time.
I met him,
dude. When your last name is Manspeaker,
I met
bro.
him. Dude, I got to mix them at in Annandale. They played a show in Annandale.
Really? And you ran sound for it?
Yeah, I got to run the sound and lights for them. It was fucking awesome. I got to meet him. I got a picture with him. I was like, man, my 14-year-old self would be high-fiving the shit out of me and licking my hand because I want to taste the hand that shook that guy's hand. I was fucking so excited. Oh man. He does this whole thing where he goes on tour and he has bands in different areas of America. So he just flies into town and that band shows up and that's his band. So he's had like 1,000 different members in
That's
that.
smart. That's a super smart way to do it.
Yeah.
If you're flying all over the country and you can't get the same guys to do it the same way, that's fucking brilliant. I think one of the other greatest transformations of all time is, well, there's two more really, but the one I'm thinking of first is just the entire evolution of Pantera, from them going to from a straight up glam band in spandex to being Pantera.
Yeah.
Like that's a wild transition.
I remember when I found out that they were a glam band, somebody told me about it. I'm like, no, they weren't.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, they were. Come. There was a CD shop that we would go to, and you could listen to CDs. Somebody had a bootleg copy of a burnt copy before we even knew how that worked. Some computer nerd knew how it worked and would make them and sell them there. Like they're freaking like $30 for a CD. It was like, oh, that's expensive. I want to hear it though. And then you hear like the and those octagon sounding electric drums. You're like, what is this, Pyromania Part 2? Yep. It sounded like that. Only a heartbeat away.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I've listened to those albums. They got some great songs on them. I love 80s music though, so
Me too.
So I'm partial to it. So I like Glamterra.
I thought it was cool, man. And just the transition too of going from that to what they became. That's what's intriguing to me.
Yeah, because I mean they were going for that heavier sound, and they claim, so Pantera claims that their singer didn't want to go heavier, but the singer says that it's more of a 3. So I watched an interview with their original singer Terry Lee, and he said the major fallout was because any decisions that were to be made were vetoed by the 5th member, which was the Abbott brothers' dad.
Oh, I thought it was going to be the hair.
No. So it was. So, like, if him and Rex were on one side and the Abbott brothers were on the other side, the 5th member had to come in and vote, and that would be the Abbott's dad. And those 3 stuck together on everything. You couldn't get them to disagree about anything. So that was his reason for that's his version of why he left Pantera.
Was there ever a period of time where you didn't like 80s metal?
Before I discovered it.
So you never were aware of it and didn't like it?
No. I always liked it. And I've always been very open about it. I mean,
yes, you have. Yes.
I've never shied away from it. Everybody's like, really? You like? I got made fun of all through high school. Nobody liked it. It was not cool to like it, and I couldn't get into a band to save my life. I was playing Eruption on guitar, trying to get into bands, and nobody would have me because it's like having a sous chef apply for a McDonald's job. Like, well, you're overqualified. Yeah. It's like, well, I can play this shit. I can play Nirvana. I can play Bush songs. I can play like that. Like, yeah, but you're probably gonna play some other stuff that's too flashy. So, well, we don't want that. And I didn't understand it. And I always thought, well, rock and roll is gonna come back around. This is just some temporary stuff. And then I really wasn't into the alternative stuff. I liked Nirvana when it came out. I didn't care for Bush. I didn't care for Smashing Pumpkins. It just wasn't my thing. Flaming Lips, stuff like that. I didn't care for it. It was slow. It was depressing. It was.
Yeah. It was all inspired by heroin.
And there was no good guitar solos whatsoever. Like, why are you even playing a guitar solo? It sounds like trash. It's like do you even know how to tune your guitar? That's not even the right note to hit in that key. Like, what the fuck are you doing? And then I remember the first time I saw a Korn video, it was for Blind, and I thought it was just another alternative video, and I was just like, I hear the and then I heard, as soon as I heard that chord, I'm like, nope. Turned off the TV, went back in my room, played some more guitar, and then I know I had tickets to go see Ozzy, and they were opening. And I remember the lights go down, and I'm thinking it's Korn, but it's Deftones. They come out and they're playing their first song, which was Bored. I'm like, oh, this is cool. And I thought it was Korn the whole time. And they get done playing, and they're like, we're Deftones, come buy our stuff or whatever. And I was like, oh, that wasn't Korn. Now I got to sit through Korn.
Yeah.
So they come out and they're doing their thing, and I hear the da-na-na-na, da-na-na-na. I'm rolling my eyes. I'm like, here we go. And then you hear the other guitar come in. I'm like, wait, what's this? Are you ready? I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
These guys are fucking heavy.
Yeah.
Heavy. It's new. It's heavy. I fucking get it. I was like, holy shit. And these guys are jumping and bouncing around. I'm like, I fucking get it.
Dude, I remember exactly
this.
what you're talking about.
I get it.
When I heard the "Are you ready?"
So yeah, that was my first experience of Korn, and man, I bought that album that weekend. Like the very next day, I bought their album, and I was like listening to the words. I was like, oh my god, this is like me. This is like everybody calls me names. They, it was they don't do it anymore. I mean, it's not cool to call somebody the F word.
Yeah.
You can't, because it's homophobic, but I got called that a lot.
Right.
Because I had long hair, I was into 80s rock, I wore tight pants, tight jeans, ripped up pants. I mean, I was stuck in the 80s until I discovered Korn.
Yep.
and then Deftones and Limp Bizkit, and I was really into these bands, and I still loved my 80s. I still, but I mean, if it wasn't for Korn, I wouldn't have even gotten into hip hop, because I fucking hated it. It wasn't my rock and roll. It was taking over MTV, and it was like, if it's not this crappy alternative stuff, it's rap music. It's like, where's the rock? I don't mind it being there, but at least play some Poison.
Sure.
Play some Def Leppard.
Right. Yeah, I really hated it when it moved into like the Blink 182 era.
I didn't mind Blink 182.
I hate that pop punk shit. Green Day was the only good version of pop punk that ever existed. The rest of it can suck it. I didn't mind Blink 182, but what I did not care for were the fans. And they were all the same. They were they all had the earplugs and the short spiky hair. Yeah, and that basically turned into emo, right?
Yep. And
that sucked too.
And you'd see you saw a major facelift on Hot Topic, going from a gothic theme store to more of a emo punk.
Yep.
I was like, whoa, what's all this? All
the small things. Yeah, I fucking hated that whole thing, dude.
That's a fun song, though.
So you must be pretty excited to see the 80s metal coming back, because I've talked to the Stormbreaker boys about this, how like Greta Van Fleet is huge now, and they're more of a 70s throwback.
Yeah, they're a lot like Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a ripoff, but really it's opening the door for that style of music.
I hear the influence. I don't think they sound... They have a lot of similarities, but
it definitely seems like they're trying to sound like Led Zeppelin, for better or for worse.
I hear they're different.
I do too, because they're not Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
But it sounds like they're trying, and I'm cool with it. I don't give a fuck. I'm not like everybody else that hates on them because of that. I'm very just matter of fact about it. Here's the thing. That's what they fucking sound like. And it's opening the door for that style music to come back, especially when you look at shit like Guardians of the Galaxy, which that entire soundtrack is music from the 60s and 70s, right? So you're seeing like a renaissance of that style music being influenced in people's writing again. And Greta Van Fleet becoming popular now is a perfect example of that. Well, everything's cyclical, and I'm telling you, it's only a matter of time before the 80s shit pops off again. And Stormbreaker, I think, is brilliantly putting themselves at the forefront of that movement, because you've got kids in that generation, my brother's age, that are basically 20 years old right now, 20, 21 years old, and they fucking love Van Halen, Guns N' Roses, and that kind of music.
That's fucking cool. I love that.
Isn't it? So you must
it.
absolutely love it. Have you seen Stormbreaker yet? I gotta take a piss, but
I was in a band with their singer.
Yeah, tell that story while I'm taking a leak.
I don't really have a story to tell. I don't know what he's talking about. For all of you who know, all I can tell you is that I was in a band with the guy who sings for that band. As far as the kids that are into the 80s, it's been probably the last whole decade of my life. It's been a whole, like, the 80s came back and it was big. We had people in college towns. We were really popular. My old cover band playing shows there. It was just amazing how much people loved hearing songs from bands like Winger and Dokken and stuff that everybody knows who Poison and Def Leppard and Bon Jovi is, but there's other bands that people don't necessarily know these ages. Like you hear like all the top artists on some sort of music compilation, like Monster Ballads, and you always know that it's going to be Def Leppard and Poison and Bon Jovi and Whitesnake. But then there was Dokken, there was Rat. Everybody knows who Rat is. But anything.
So you're talking about Rock Godz, right?
Yeah.
So you started Rock Godz?
I did not start Rock Godz. Rock Godz is basically...
Oh, that's right. We were talking about this earlier.
Yeah. So
I don't know if we were on the podcast, though.
Yeah. Rock Godz basically started from another band with a similar name. And
yeah, I don't remember if we were on the podcast when we were talking about this, but I'll just recap it real quick. So it was Monsters of Mock.
Nope. Not even close. That was a completely different band.
Oh, okay.
But
let me ask you, when you were in Monsters of Mock?
No, I wasn't in
You
that
never
band.
in that band?
Nope.
Was a guy named Stoney ever the guitar player in Rock Godz?
No. He was in Hollywood Boulevard.
Oh, okay. That's what you meant by a similar name to Sunset Strip. Got you.
So
okay.
I was in a band with Sean and Stoney. And we had
Stoney is an amazing guitar player.
He is fucking sick.
I almost tried to get him into a couple different bands I was starting.
Good fucking luck. If it's not 80s, you're...
Yeah, no, that's exactly
He was in Blue Felix, and he didn't want to be in it anymore because it wasn't exactly what he wanted to play. And I was like, so what, man? You guys are playing big shows. You got a big following. Stick with it. And he wasn't happy playing not rock music, not 80s rock style. No, my first cover band was with him, Sean, and a girl named Katie. We were called Riot Act. And I was in that band for maybe about 6-8 months. And then we broke up, and then me, Sean, and Stoney tried to start something else, and it never happened. We never found a singer. And then Stoney joined up in Monsters of Mock. And then Sean put together Hollywood Boulevard with Stoney. No, before Stoney went to Monsters of Mock. Stoney and Sean met a bass player, and then they got another guitar player, Jay.
It's like listening to Southern people talk about their family tree.
Yeah. And then they got a singer.
That was a good joke. That was a fucking good joke, you sons of bitches.
There's this guy that didn't have a... I don't think he really had a band. Joe Dandy. And they started Hollywood Boulevard. And that band somehow... Oh...
So these bands all spidered off, and you ended up in a band
So the
with
bass
Chris
player
from Stormbreaker.
The bass player was screwing everybody over. He was taking money off the top as a booker. He wasn't telling them he was doing that. He was taking like the top $200 off, and then it's saying like, "Okay, we got $400, and we're gonna split that 5 ways."
Oh, what a dick!
Yeah, he was doing shit like that, and didn't find out. So what would happen was they'd show up to shows, and another band would be loading their gear, and they'd be like, "What the fuck's going on?" So they go talk to the owner, like, "We're supposed to be booked for this," and like, "Yeah, I was talking to a guy online about it, but he didn't confirm the show." So that happened more than once, and then they.
So you ended up busting off and starting your own deal, and Chris from
No. So what happened was that bass player quit, and Sean, the drummer, started messaging me, asking me to join the band, and I was like, no, I got ADD going, and the band was that band was falling apart. It was just starting to fall apart, and I was like, I don't want to do it. And as soon as I did, the band fell apart.
Sure.
I played one show with Sunset Strip, and all of a sudden everybody in ADD is like, I don't want to play anymore. So then I started doing that, and I was like, oh, and you make money? It's like, you get drinks, you get food, they pay you money?
Yeah.
It's like they're rolling out this red carpet for you.
For people that are confused, you're talking about the difference between being in an original band, which is what you're used to being in like an actual real cover band, not even just like a throw together thing.
Yep. So we ended up having to change the name to Sunset Strip because that bass player wanted to keep the name. So we started Sunset Strip, and then Stoney went to Monsters of Mock, and Joe Dandy went to Monsters of Mock, and then Sunset Strip did really good, and for a while, and then we started having some issues with our band manager, and I eventually left. Well, me and the lead singer didn't get along from day one. We tried to, and we eventually got into a fist fight, and he quit. And that was really stupid. That was over, and that was me trying to stand up for the band manager for whatever reason. And I regret that fucking punch, but then we got Wally. Well, we had another guy named Nick for a while, and then we got Wally to take over for a while, and then me and that band manager, I just couldn't stand her anymore. I was just like, I have to be done with this. So I quit, and then Sean started playing for this other band, which was with that bass player that was originally screwing everybody over. And then he basically was doing the same thing again with this new band, and then he was going through members left and right, and he gets this guy named Sam, and Sam's like a hardcore professional at like everything running a band, but it wasn't his band yet. And then Hairball got a hold of Joe Dandy and took him on. So the band didn't have a singer. They ended up finding a singer, which was Chris. And before they could even play their shows were getting taken from them. So they couldn't even play any shows because this other booking agent was coming in and stealing them because they knew they didn't have a singer. So he was just marketing as like, well, give my band. Give this band a show. Let's take these dates away from this band and give them to our band because they don't have a singer and blah, blah, blah. And then basically when they found out that their bass player was screwing them over, Sam's like, that's it. I'm taking over everything. I'm in charge now. I'm gonna deal with the booking agent. I'm gonna do this, and we have to change the name. And the bass player's like, well, I don't want to be a part of this then.
Shit, huh?
So I got the call again and patched things up with my old...
So you jumped into the project that Chris was already in.
Yeah, so Me and Chris basically joined the band at the same time.
Gotcha. Oh, okay.
But
okay.
I'd already been playing with, because it was with Sean, because it was with my drummer Sean again. And
now in this cover band, you had you guys kind of have like sort of characters, or you model yourself after characters.
it was something that was supposed to come off from the old band, where you're supposed to be a character from a band.
Sure, I mean, and it makes sense. Hairball does it. I get it, right? They even do costume changes. I'm not mocking anybody here. I just want to like kind of catch up to where we were before. So basically,
the idea was
he started off with a character that was modeled after who?
He started off with
and it modeled into Axel. You said,
yeah, because so every set, our idea was we were going to pick 3 of our favorite musicians to be. And so with the cover bands, you play 3 sets, 3 1-hour sets for the night. And the idea was that we were going to be a member from a different band. For instance, I was supposed to be Eric Brittenham from Cinderella and Bobby Doll from Poison. And I made up a 3rd character, which didn't go over very well. it was stupid. I found this purple mullet, and it puffed up. It was horrible, and I thought the thing was fucking cool. Nobody, and I was wearing wigs, and my wigs would come off because I'd do these barrel rolls on stage, where I'd just roll, and the wigs would just fall off, and the crowd, there'd be guys going, wait, you have hair under the wig? Why are you wearing a wig? I'm like, why am I wearing a wig?
Funny.
So, and then Chris's character was Robert Plant, and that's
what it was. It started off based on Robert Plant.
He was supposed to be Robert Plant. He was going to be Robert Plant for the first set, and then he was going to be Axl Rose for the second 2
Which
sets.
Robert Plant isn't really 80s.
No, but it was supposed to be rock gods. It wasn't supposed to just be 80s. It was supposed to be
the Iconics.
So we did like 5 Led Zeppelin songs, and only one of them would go over. Chris will probably say like 3 of them or all of them, but
yeah.
The only people that got into it were the drunk guys at the bar, just sitting there like those guys. Right. The chicks on the dance floor, they get
now. I guarantee you it would be different because of bands like Greta Van Fleet. I'm 100% positive Led Zeppelin cover band would do a lot better.
Well, the thing is, you got to play when you're playing in a cover band, you got to play the type of music that girls can dance to. And if it's too fast, it's not danceable. And that's the mistake I see a lot with cover bands, is they'll play a song like Pour Some Sugar on Me too fast. Because they want it to have energy. You got that hey, hey, that's too fast. The song goes hey,
it's critical.
You can rock out to that. Right. But if it's going I mean, you're gonna wear yourself out, and girls don't want to do that.
Right.
Girls want to just kind of groove.
Sure.
You know, and there's like a whole science to it, and you got to pick the right songs when you're playing in a cover band, especially if it's only going to be rock and roll. You got to pick the right songs.
And this is what I was learning when I was flirting with this idea, right? I started talking to people that were doing the cover band thing, because I wasn't doing anything original wise, right? I just wasn't performing at all. So I was like, dude, let's just fucking start a cover band. Dude, I quickly realized the amount of effort you have to put in to be a good cover band, to be profitable and like make good money doing it. The amount of work and energy and focus you have to put into, like you just said, even understanding what songs to play at what tempos. Like, not just what song.
It's still a lot of work. It's still a lot of work.
I would just rather put that into my original music, because I'm convinced if you can figure out how to like manipulate the algorithm and do the Spotify thing, and if you do that the right way, I think you can like do pretty fucking well with your original music nowadays. I think most of us have no idea what we're doing, including myself. Yeah. That's why we struggle, like making our original music pop. But yeah, it's not easy, man. It's not like you just start a cover band and boom, you're making $1,000 a night. No, like, because it's almost as competitive, if not more competitive, than original music. Because original music can still come down to preference. I just fucking like this band better. I think this band's going to be dope someday. But in cover bands, it doesn't matter because you're all playing the same fucking songs. Or you're all playing somebody else's music. So it doesn't matter when it comes down to that. There is no preferential shit. It's who's going to bring more people, who's going to make me more money. And then you get that weird fucking political backstabby bullshit. I'm just saying, dude, like, I was like, I'm out. Fuck this. I'll just do my own thing again. It seemed easier, which doesn't seem to be true.
It's not.
In retrospect.
It's not. No, it's different, but it's still a lot of work. And it's still the same drama. It's still the same kind of band drama. You still have to deal with the different types of personalities. It's a band like any other band. They're all the same. It's the circuits are different.
Right.
The respect you get from the bar owners because they know that you're going to make more money for the bar. And really what you're trying to do is sell beer.
Yep.
You're really just a beer salesman.
Yep.
You're trying to get people to drink, and if your band doesn't get the people to drink, you can't get booked.
I mean, here's the reality, though, brother. Even if you're an original band, technically that's your job as well.
Exactly.
That's the only reason these venue owners bring you in is because you're going to bring people who are going to buy booze that guy's going to make money off of. And if you're not profitable, if they pay you too much because you're guaranteed, and a lot of people do that, and nobody helps that guy make money, they go under. And that's how we lose the urban wildlife and all these other places.
It can happen if you book a really expensive band that you think is going to guaranteed thing, but say there's like Van Halen coming to town.
Yep.
And they're playing their once-in-a-lifetime show or whatever. Everybody's going to that, and nobody's coming to your show, which you've had booked for like 6 months.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, there's this other thing going on, or there's like, Tools playing at the same time, and like everybody's got to take their kid to that, because a lot of the people that came to our shows were older, and and we had a lot of younger people too that would come to our shows, and if they wanted to go to see that band, is like if when Motley Crue would come to town on their farewell tour all 5 times, we were fucked every time they came because. Yep. These people would not come to our shows until the last 30 minutes.
So let's rapid fire catch up all the names of the variations of cover bands you were in order as fast as possible. Just name them. So it started with
Riot Act,
and
then I joined Sunset Strip, and then I left Sunset Strip for another band. I don't need it. That was, I don't even really want to talk about that one. Then I came back and made hugged and kissed with my old drummer Sean, and we started up Rock Godz. Well, I joined Rock Godz, and then that's it. And then
the reason I'm asking is because Amanda in chat, she's going, I'm trying to follow this windy road of cover bands, trying to figure out which one she accidentally saw one night. So like me, like I was telling you before we started the podcast, I randomly saw you at fucking Bamboo Betty's one night.
That would have more, what year?
This was a long time ago because I was living with my mom. And actually, I may not have even been living with my mom. I might have been up there for the weekend for a holiday, like Thanksgiving or Christmas or something like that.
That might have been Sunset.
You booked a show.
What did the singer look like?
I don't remember. I really don't, dude. I do remember Sean was playing drums, though.
That doesn't narrow it down. Because
I mean, the fact that it was called Bamboo Betty should narrow down the time frame it was in, because they renamed that place like 6 different times.
So I played there with Sunset Strip a few times, and
I think it was Sunset Strip, but Amanda's trying to figure out it as well, because it sounds like same thing.
If it was between 2010 and 11, that would have been Sunset Strip. If it was, I think we started playing there again in 2014, and that was Rock Godz at that point.
Yeah, I don't think it was Rock Godz. I'm pretty sure for me
it was
Were we dressed up?
Strip. Were we dressed up, or were we just wearing normal clothes like jeans?
No, I think you were somewhat dressed up.
If I was wearing spandex, I was Rock Godz.
Yeah, I don't remember.
You'd remember the spandex. Come on, man. I was wearing like
Oh man, I've known you for a
Ultra
long
pink
time.
something.
She says it was October, November, December-ish, so that's probably about the same time of year for me. But she says 2008. I cannot tell you what year it was. I have no idea.
Nah, it wouldn't have been 2008. That wasn't in a cover band then. I fucking hated cover bands. I had a keyboardist that was also in a cover band. That band would always get his priority.
Well, and you're doing a tribute band now.
Yes.
So where did the idea of the tribute band get birthed from? Because let's just spell it out for people. It's a Korn tribute band called KoBb.
Yep.
Which we were joking about beforehand. You said, not me, it's a terrible band name.
Oh yeah. Okay. So yeah. I was every time I try to talk about my band, it's new to me because I haven't been in a band for like 5 or 6 years, and now that I just started this up and I'm telling people what my band name is, I'm like, God, that just sounds so stupid. When it rolls off the tongue, I'm like, KoBb. It's called KoBb. Because then I just think of cobweb. Like, what, am I a fucking spider or something? No, it's like corn on the cob. So obviously it goes... I've seen some of the other names of Korn tribute bands, and they're like Children of the Corn or It's On. The one of the best ones I've seen is Grain. I like that one.
Yeah, if you flip the R around, I think most
that's
people
what they
would get
do.
It. Yep.
And the G is lowercase. But so KoBb, I actually came up with the concept probably 12 years ago. And
make sure you don't fall too far back. You can pull that mic back to you too.
I was trying to find members for that band back then, and I didn't have a lot of time to devote for it because I wanted to do the 80s thing, and I didn't think it was ever really going to come back. I thought I was just playing music for old people, and I was like, I don't want to keep doing... I love the 80s music, but I don't look 80s, and people are really confused because me and my guitar player at the time, Jay, were metal-looking guys, and we show up, and everybody's like, oh, you look like the singer of Korn. You look like the singer of Korn. Everywhere I go, I get, you look like the singer of Korn just because I have dreadlocks. And it was always a thing, like ever for the last 20 years, anywhere I go, if there was karaoke somewhere, somebody would be like, dude, you should get up and do Freak on a Leash. Like, shut up. I don't want to do that. I was just like, no. And then one day I was like, you know what? I bet if I started a Korn tribute band, it would get fucking huge. So I started putting this idea together, and it went through a couple different phases where I was messaging people on Facebook, and I couldn't get anybody serious enough to do it. And then one day I made a post a few years after that, and I had a drummer like, dude, I want it, and I got a guitar player, and I got another. 2 days later, he's like, I got a bass player. And then a couple days later, he's like, oh, got another guitar player. And then we were all supposed to get together, but the drummer didn't show up. And it was the weirdest fucking thing. We got together to talk, and he just didn't show up. He didn't answer his phone, didn't answer Facebook, nothing. We're like, what the fuck? So that just went nowhere, right? And I didn't have a lot of time to really put everything together, and I just kind of put it back on the back burner. And then one day I was hanging out with a guitar player from Menace, his wife, my wife, and we were just going around town drinking. And I was telling him how I had that idea to do that. He's like, dude, if you ever want to do it, let me know. I want to be in it. I was like, really? Like, oh, we'll do it someday. And then what happened was I haven't been playing in a band. I take fill-in gigs here and there, usually with Rock Godz. I'm still on good terms with them, and I'd like to dispel the rumor that Sam kicked us all out. Sam did not kick us out. Sam didn't want me to leave, and I didn't have a falling out with him. I quit on my own terms because I just wanted to be home. I wanted to be with my family. And I've said this millions of times, and it's absolutely the truth. There was no other reason. It had nothing to do with anything between me and Sam. Me and Sam are still on really good terms. But what triggered it was this guy Jeff Green sends me a message. He's like, "Hey, I don't know if you heard about this, but Steel Panther are having video auditions."
I remember this.
And I was like, "No shit." So I got off work. I went home. I'm like looking at it. I'm like, nobody else is saying it. I'm gonna try out for it. So I got all dressed up. I did a audition. I sent it in. I'm like, I could do better. So I did a better one. I was like, man, that's fucking dope. I did one in my driveway, and that was like my favorite one. I was like, I'm gonna send this one in. This one's got to get some attention. And I sent it in, and I was just like, I don't think I'm ever gonna hear anything. You know, I'm like, I'm gonna try to build some hype out of this. I posted that I tried out for it, and I was like just sitting there waiting to hear something back, and then I was like, maybe this is a stupid idea to try out for them. I probably don't have a chance. They got millions of people. I'm sure everybody in the bands are jumping all over this. So I made a post, and all of a sudden, everybody else that I thought would try out were like getting behind me, like, "Oh my god, I thought you already knew." Yeah, I was hoping you would get the. There's no reason why you're not getting this gig. You're totally in it. So I've had like thousands of people just going on their Facebook page saying, "You gotta hire him. You gotta hire him. You gotta hire him," and everybody's just like, "Who's he for Steel Panther?" Like it just became this thing, and it was blowing up. And then I got an email back from one of my submissions saying that they wanted to move forward with the hiring process, and I have to sign a waiver for them to own my video so that they can use it in any way, shape, or form that they want, and they're going to pay me for it. And as soon as I sent the letter back, I got paid from Steel Panther in my PayPal account. And I was like, this is going to be my first check. It was for $1.
That's amazing.
But it was
$1's a dollar, baby.
And I really thought I had this in the bag. I'm like, there's no fucking way my video, and I was looking at all the other videos that people were putting on YouTube, and I was like, oh man, mine's way better than all these other videos. And there was a couple out there that I was like, ooh, this guy's probably gonna be competition for me. This guy, there's like 5 different guys out there and one chick that I was nervous about. And I think the biggest thing is, so you're supposed to send in an introduction video and a video of you playing. Some of these people had these really elaborate backstories for their character. I was just, my introduction video was just like straightforward, like, hi, and I tried to be a little funny, but I wasn't like overdoing it and making it super cheesy or anything. So maybe that's not what they were looking for. Or maybe it's the hair. Maybe it's the fact that I posted and they were getting harassed by everybody I know. And for the last, like all of last summer, the end of last summer throughout, basically up until December, everybody was like, dude, have you heard anything back? Have you heard anything back? And I'm like, no. And
I remember even checking in.
And I was just like, oh man, everybody's on me about this, and there's not, like, what do I do? Do I send them a message? And I did send them a message. I'm like, so I noticed that you guys are picking people to go on stage with you guys and go on tour with you guys. Am I gonna hear anything back? Or and I get a message back saying, hello, Uzi. There was a consent form we needed you to sign. Could you please sign it and send it back? And I was like, oh, I already signed it and I got paid by you guys. And then I haven't heard anything back. And then finally there was like nothing going in motion for months. Nobody was hearing anything back. I started hearing from other guys. I had some guy from Mexico messaging me. He was so sure. He's like, I tried out. I got the consent email. I'm like, oh, cool. He's like, have you heard anything else? I'm like, no. He's like, neither have I. And he doesn't have a Facebook, which is weird. He has Messenger, but not a Facebook. So he's messaging me, and I don't know what he looked like or whatever. But some of the other people, I've come across some other people that tried out, and they didn't get the consent letter. So I'm like in this limbo area where I'm like, they've got to pick me. They got to pick me.
That's so confusing.
I'm like, this is my gig. I mean, it's like this has got to happen. This has to happen. And then they decided, like, this day is the day we're going to put together all the finalists that we're going to choose from, and we're going to do like this whole draft thing where you have the brackets, and then the winner of those brackets move on to the next bracket.
Oh wow.
And then when they released that, my name wasn't on there. I'm like, I was actually more relieved to know that it was over with.
Sure.
I thought
that's got to be an interesting feeling.
It was. I was getting more annoyed by everybody wanting to know. It was like I wasn't hearing anything, and I was just getting to this, like, mentally prepared to just be let down, so I wouldn't be let down. And when it was finally over, I just felt relieved, because then I was just like, you know what? I'm ready to get back on stage. If I do this, if I do what I wanted to do years ago, and started a Korn tribute band, I won't play very often. I can do this. So then I threw a video together of me singing "Freak on the Leash" and put it out there. Got a bass player the next morning, and he was like, it was like the perfect guy. I mean, this guy's got Fieldy's bass, his amps. He's got his tone marked down. He's got everything. This guy's like obsessed with Fieldy, and he knows more than just that. He knows like everything about Korn. Like, he knows all the guitar riffs. He's like the instructor. Sure,
got you. So you need one of those guys, the Korn scholar.
This guy's got it all. There's that guy, and then I got Aaron Lawn-Nick. Get off my lawn, Nick!
Aaron Lanique.
I got him the drum.
Aaron Lanique.
Aaron. Yeah, he's I
think Aaron's in chat. I think I seen him saying something earlier. I think he dropped in. I don't know if he's still watching, but
cool.
I think he dropped in earlier and hung out for a little bit. Yeah, it says he needs a stogie. Well, dude, you got to come on.
And then the bass player actually had a guitar player that he brought along with him to be the other guitar player. So it was just like, I put that video up, and Jason was like, "All right, I'm still in." so I
Jason
had,
who?
Jason Ferrugia. He's from a band called Menace. They're a cover band.
Nice.
They do a lot of heavier music.
So you got Lonick on drums.
Yep.
You're singing.
Yep.
You already got your Fieldy.
And he came with a head.
Okay, and now you got your other guy who's the monkey. Right?
Yes.
Nice.
So
and you guys are already playing out, or?
Yep. We got the whole band put together in a weekend.
That's insane. When is your next show?
It's June 17th at Route 47.
Oh, up in Fridley.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, we're playing with Plague of Stars and Castor Velour.
No shit. I'm gonna have to try to make it out to that one, man, because I need to see Castor Velour.
Oh, they're fucking awesome.
Are they?
I love those guys.
Are they?
Yeah,
they're fucking weird dudes, man.
That's what I love about them.
I know. That's me too. Like when I'm saying weird, like they're fucking. I've said it multiple times on this podcast. I go, those guys are fucking weirdos. I'm not saying that as an insult. I'm saying it as like, it's super interesting to me.
Different.
They're fucking weirdos, and I love it, and I'm super intrigued. They better deliver, because the hype.
Oh, they will.
The hype.
They will.
Dude, the hype's real, bro. The hype is real, dude.
And I've been seeing them since they first started playing shows, and they've always been good live. Like they always put on a good show. There was a period where the singer had to be the bass player, and it didn't sound as good. I had to show him.
Pull that mic back to you. It's getting.
I had to show him how to play some bass. Yes, I did, Alex. And
taught him everything he knows.
Well, no, I didn't teach him everything he knows. I just taught him
every single thing, every little thing he does.
I just taught him some of the right notes and how to tune the bass down to D.
Nice.
And they got their old bass player back now, so he doesn't even want to play bass anymore. He's like, I was horrible at it. He wasn't horrible. He actually got pretty good at it. I was surprised how fast he picked up on playing bass in such a little bit of time. And they have like a whole stage show. They got props and everything, and they're gonna those guys are gonna get big. I just know it.
I'll see if I can sneak up there.
It's gonna
June?
be a great show.
June?
Yep.
June 23rd?
June 17th.
June 17th. I don't know why it came up. June 17th at Route 47. How much are tickets? They got to be pretty cheap, right? $10, $12?
I don't think that
$15?
it's on a Friday, and I'm not. Don't quote me on this, but normally they don't charge cover for shows. But if anything, it's probably going to be like $5-10. It's not. $10 is the new $5 anyways. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You're gonna spend that on a drink.
Yeah, that's true. That's the hardest part about going out now. It's all the other shit. It's like, because especially for like me, if I started going to like, so this is what I had to do, right? This sounds super douchey at first, so hear me out, right? But I was like, first of all, I can't afford to go to everyone's show, right? Like, I just can't. I just know too many dudes. I don't have the time. And I don't have the money. If it's a $10 cover for every single one, and especially if I want, and I've done this, where I've gone to 2 shows in one night, as, you know, part of me going to support people who've come on the podcast and vice versa, where I've gone to fucking Route 47 and then dipped down to the Caboose. If I got to pay covers at both of those and buy a beer or two at both of those, that's going to be fucking, and then you do that every single weekend, it's going to get fucked up, right? So it's like, well, you just pick and choose which ones you can go to, right? But then I don't want to start fucking being a dick to people and like blowing them off because I'm going to this other show, I'm not going to theirs, right? So my thing is like, look, throw me on the guest list and I will try my hardest to make it out, because then at least I can, like, financially it's not never going to be an issue. Fuck, I'm on the guest list, right? Number 2, it's not about me showing favoritism or fucking preferring anybody, because I don't want to get caught up in that like fucking cliquey gatekeeper bullshit, right? It's like, no, they invited me out, they threw me on the guest list. I didn't have anything going on that night. I went to the show. See what I'm saying? I know that almost sounds like I'm overthinking it, but I'm not. So that's really fucking been my thing. And dude, I've gotten to go see some fucking really, really fucking cool bands, including that's how I fucking saw Stormbreaker for the first time. Revenant Soul threw me out. Threw me on.
I was gonna say, threw you out of where?
No, they threw me on the guest list. I don't know if you know who those boys are, but
I know those guys.
They were fucking killer.
Their fucking guitar player is amazing.
Yeah, I think Casey's...
That kid can fucking shred.
Yeah, too bad he's not in the band anymore.
Oh, he isn't?
No, he quit.
What?
Yeah, to focus on his solo career. I mock him to his face about it, because I'm like, dude, you're an idiot. Like, your band just recorded this dope-ass record, Sucker Punch. They release it, and as they're releasing it, they announce that he's quitting the band, and then the drummer quit at the same time. Like, man, y'all are fucking stupid. You're just getting some momentum. But like, dude, you do realize you can do both. Like, you can do your solo thing and be in Revenant Soul. Like, neither one of those projects are so big that you have to choose right now. And having to choose between the two is a good problem to have down the road when you have to make that choice. Right now is not that time. Right now you can just do both, dude. Oh, God. Yeah, I see him at shows every once in a while. And I'm like, you're an idiot. He's like, fuck you, dude. Like, it's all in good fun. He knows I love him.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that I'm completely out of the whole original thing. I do have probably 2 albums worth of music that I'm sitting on that they're not complete songs. I got maybe 4 or 5 complete songs that I haven't released. I got a lot of songs started up. I got a lot of songs halfway there.
What's preventing you from putting it out?
I'm fucking old now. Who the fuck wants to hear from me? And then
I'm starting to feel that way.
At the time when I was younger and I had shit that I hated about life, the government, society, and I had shit to bitch about. Who wants to hear me? Who wants to hear a guy in his 40s bitch about those things? Because I don't even think that same way anymore. I'm not as liberal as I used to be. I never really was a protester type of person, and I'm definitely not now.
Right.
I'm not the kind of person who wants to like start a war against society. I'm just happy living a regular life now. It's like, what am I? It's almost hard for me to write music for ADD when I'm happy.
Right.
it's
It's really hard to write music when you're content and you're happy. That's what I've ran into the most
oh
over the last almost 10 years now, basically, since I've been with my wife. I mean, I have written music since I've been with her, but I'm not like pissed off. I'm not angry. I'm not heartbroken. So I don't have any of these like wells to go dive into, right? So it's really, for me now, and I want to get your opinion on this, for me to find inspiration, like I had to come up with this new mantra, and I didn't really come up with it. I stole it from somebody else. I don't remember where the fuck I heard it. But it's like inspiration meets opportunity or some shit like that. And basically, it's like, okay, if I'm looking at inspiration or talking to inspiration like it's a person or whatever, I'm like, all right, I'll meet you on the drum kit. And it's what that really means is like I have to go and be on that fucking drum kit 10 times longer than I used to in order to just be inspired by something, right? Same thing with guitar or anything, because I don't have the misery or this like natural inspiration there. So the more musically in shape I get, the more regularly I practice. So now I can fucking go like basically 2 hours, right? A month or two ago, I was barely able to go 30 minutes. You know what I mean? Now I can fucking be over there jamming. I can fucking work on my own music. I can literally just work on chops. I can fucking throw on some covers through the PA, not the PA, but through the mixer. I can hook up my cell phone and listen to cover music and fucking practice some of my favorites or work on techniques or whatever, right? Bro, now when I go back to working on my original music, there's so many more ideas there. There's so many more things for me to farm and work with. I don't find myself in that writing struggle that I did 3 to 5 years ago because I wasn't religiously playing my instrument like I have been the last 3 to 6 months.
Yeah, I can write the music. That's not the problem. It's the lyrics. It's like, what am I going to sing about? Like how to change a diaper? I mean, not that I have to do that anymore. I mean, I'm way past that stage of but it became a thing like once I started having kids and I'm somebody's dad now, and I was like, well, now I can't be that angry adolescent adult who's just out of high school, just pissed off, angry about the government and this and everything, and I can't do that. I have to support my kids now. I got to put food on the table for more than just myself now. And I got to change diapers now, and I got to go to work, and it's like, well, how stupid is that going to look if I'm on stage trying to make it still in a regular band, but I still want to play on stage? I'd rather be pressing buttons on a fretboard than on a keyboard.
Yeah. Fucking Dave from the Goodyear Pimps told me once, he goes, well, I can either swing a drumstick or I can swing a hammer.
Exactly. And I made good money when I was in Rock Godz. I made for a long time, my only job was playing in cover bands. And that paid the rent, that paid for the gas, that paid for everything. Put diapers on my kids, and I got kind of to another age where I was like, you know what? I need to get a part-time job too, so that I can supplement my band, because I was also part of the thing was, your band is your business and you got to put your money back into it. But if you're putting your money back into it, then you're not really, you got to find other ways to pay the rest of the bills. So I got a job. Then I was working full time, plus playing on the weekends. I was never home. And it started getting miserable. My kids were getting upset that they never saw their dad and all this stuff. And it was like I couldn't get my band to slow down on shows. That was out of the question. So I had to pick between the two, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna, because if I go to the band thing, stupid things like one of the band's girlfriends getting drunk at a show and starting fights with other women is gonna is going to turn into, you're not playing here anymore. You're done.
Yeah.
And then there goes, that's 1/6 of our booked shows. Because you get in rotation with 5 bars. You're there every 6 weeks. Find another bar, or 11 bars, whatever it is, because you're playing every Friday and Saturday.
Right.
And you lose a whole bar. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Especially
the more successful you get, you're making 4, 5, 6, 10 grand a night, whatever it is, because that's what some of those cover. But some of them are. Some of them are getting up there, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, fuck, dude. I was talking to Hairball. They were telling me they don't even leave the driveway for less than 10 or 20 grand.
Oh, I don't think it's that cheap. I think they're a lot more expensive than that.
This was a while ago. This was like 10 years ago when I was still working at Guitar Center.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they're a lot more expensive than that now.
Yeah, probably. How much do you think?
Oh, I'd have to imagine at least 50.
You think? Damn, that ain't bad money.
No.
I mean, but they have a whole army, not just a crew. They have a fucking army. I wonder how much each person in the band actually puts in their pocket at the end of each show night.
I knew that number once. I knew
if it's 50 grand, what do you think it comes down to?
Well, I know that
$1,500 per guy per night.
I know that I was getting drunk with one of their members, and he was talking about how he couldn't believe another member quit the band because he was making $5,000 a night just to go ahead and not make anything from the band. And it was like, what? Like $5,000 a night per member? I was like, wow, what the fuck? And that was like, God, that was...
So that's a minimum of 25 grand.
That was like...
Right there, just in band members.
Just for the band members. And then you got like 2 of the best sound men.
Yep.
You got this...
all the roadies, the lights, everything.
Yep.
They all get paid at that level. Drivers.
Yep. And they got the bus. They got and a semi. They got a whole... They did everything right.
That's fucking crazy, dude. Those numbers are so big in the cover band circuit. And it's funny because, like, I still know probably a dozen other people that their bands are making 5 to 10 grand a night. You split that between probably 8 people. There's 5 people in the band plus a few crew people, like light guy, sound guy, extra roadie or whatever. I don't think he's technically a roadie, but you know what I mean. That's what it seems to be for a lot of the dudes that I know. And still, I mean, even then, it's like $1,000, $1,500 a night per band member. It's like, fuck, dude, that's not bad.
Oh yeah, going back.
You do 3 of those gigs a week. That's $4,500 a week. I know a lot of people that don't make $4,500 a week at their IT job. And like you said, you can either press the frets or you can press the keyboard.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
But get back to that whole thing about the stupidest band name. So I'm sitting here thinking how KoBb is a dumb band name, and I get bored, and I'll listen to random podcasts and I'll listen to interviews from people. I was listening to one with Jonathan Davis, and this one I was listening to, he was on Steve-O's podcast, and it was all of a sudden I felt this connection with Jonathan Davis. I was like, oh my god, that's just like me. It's just like me. Me and this guy have so much shit in common. And he's talking about how they came up with the name Korn, and it's a pretty gross story. But when they decided to call the band Korn, the manager was like, "You're not calling your band Korn. That's stupid." Like, all right, fine, we're just gonna call it. And I think his name was like Paul something. Like, we're gonna call it Paul or Korn. And he's like, "Well, you're not calling it by my name." He's like, "Fine, then it's Korn." And it went over real well and all. Nowadays, looking back, every time I think about my band name Korn, it's the stupidest fucking name for a band ever.
Yeah. And it is.
And I'm like, oh my god, you should be in my shoes.
With KoBb.
KoBb.
With KoBb.
My band's name is KoBb, and we're covering your band.
Yeah, it is. Korn is a pretty shitty band name, like by my own. But we were talking about this before the podcast, but they do 2 things insanely well.
I actually like the name.
But I mean, let's just be honest. It's a stupid band name. Korn, come on. But here's what they did incredibly well. And these 2 things are more important than the actual band name itself. It's easy to remember, and it was easy to draw. So every middle schooler could draw it on their notebooks. And that is significantly more important than the actual band name itself. And if you do those two things...
And it's easy to read.
Yep, and it's easy to read. It's easy to remember.
It doesn't look like looking at the trees in the middle of winter.
Yep. Yep. And so when you do that, you can get a dumb name. Like, again, here's another dumb band name. A Cranberry. But it's easy to remember, right? Like, so that's how important certain things are. Like, even if it's not actually that great, remembering it is significantly more important.
Yeah. And I always... See, Def Leppard was my favorite band since I discovered rock and roll.
Your favorite band or band name? Or both?
Probably both. And I never even thought of how stupid the name was until recently. I was like, Def Leppard. It's stupid. What?
Weren't they literally trying to bite the Led Zeppelin thing?
Yes, he was trying to come up with... I don't know. It has something to do with, like, having the same amount of letters and shape.
Yeah, something stupid like that. I heard
something
that too.
similar to that. Yeah, they're definitely Led Zeppelin fans.
I don't think anybody will be surprised by me saying this, but I think the single greatest band name of all time is Metallica. Because it's its own word, right? Like Google. You know what I mean?
You know, before Google was big, you used to use the word Google like, dude, stop Googling my mom. You're making Google eyes at my mom.
No, it was oogle. It was oogling.
Oh,
wasn't
oogling.
it? Or
was
ogling?
It? Oh, I thought it was Googling.
Or ogling?
Maybe.
Yeah, but I think you're right. Google eyes might have been a thing. Maybe.
Stop making Google eyes at my mom.
I don't know. Fuck. Now you got me thinking, dude.
Where did that fucking word come from?
I thought it was a made-up word. I thought they made it up. I know it's like a Googleplex. A Googleplex or whatever is like the largest number that we can write down. Or something like that, or the largest number we choose to acknowledge, or some just fucking a Googleplex. It's a big number. A Googleplex is a very large number, but like I think Metallica is a great name because it's its own word, right? So it doesn't jump onto anything else, and then it's one word. It's easy to remember. It's that fucking logo is like That's the only reason I will put Metallica above, say, the Beatles, right, or the Rolling Stones, or Led Zeppelin, or any of those other bands. It's because Metallica ticks every box, from the logo to it being one word, easy to remember, and it just starts ticking all the other ones too. It's its own thing. Like, that's crazy. When you make up a word, that's really powerful. Yeah, because there's nothing to work against.
My theory with Metallica is the reason why so many people like Metallica, because they're all, like, probably 70% of them, of Metallica fans, are musicians. And when they're musicians, you need something to play, right? Metallica music is pretty easy to learn, especially the solos.
But hard to do, right? It's easy to learn, hard to master. Because I listen to a lot of people play Kirk Hammett solos, and I'm like, that ain't right. That ain't right. That ain't right.
You can get close enough if you just go. If you learn the intro riff to "Are You Gonna Go My Way" by Lenny Kravitz, and you play that anywhere on the fretboard between the 7th fret and the 17th fret, and get a wah pedal, you can play a Kirk Hammett solo all day long.
That's hilarious. Oh my god.
I mean, he was doing good back when he was taking lessons from Joe Satriani.
Yeah, I heard so I don't know if this is an actual conspiracy. I've never really heard this proven or confirmed anywhere, but for a long time the story was he was taking lessons from Satriani, and he had no idea what to write over these James Hetfield riffs, because back then those riffs were kind of insane. Like, music just wasn't really written that way, especially at that speed, at that tempo. And
the first album was already laid out for him. Just play what Mustaine played. We'll slow him down. We'll slow the songs down for you.
I mean, he still wrote his own solos, because none of that's what Mustaine was actually playing. But regardless. Because I've never actually known that this is confirmed. This is just what I heard for a long time from like my dad and his generation. More importantly, it was he would go and sit down with Satriani and be like, I don't know what to play over this. And Satriani would like show him what boxes to play in. Like, okay, here, this one. And then when he switches to that,
I believe
you've got these 3 options.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
then he would just send Kirk home and Kirk would go back and write those things. But it was all based on like basically being given gutter guards in bowling. Like that's kind of what Joe Satriani did. Like, no, stay out of that box. See, and only guitar players know what I mean by boxes. You might be able to explain it better than I can, but it's like they highlight literally certain frets on the strings, and it's like you play any of these notes together, and it's going to sound awesome because they're all in the perfect key.
Yeah, just
just
basically make a melody.
I don't know any theory at all. If people can't tell,
just basically make a melody.
It's fucking cool.
And that's one of the things that I'll see a lot of ridiculously good guitar players just over solo, and they don't write solos to sound, because that's another thing. That's one thing I liked about the 80s is the guitar solos were like their own melody. Like you have the singing and they have their own vocal line which has a melody, right? And then you get to the guitar solo and they do a little bit of flash, but then there's always like take for instance Round and Round by Rat. You get to that point where it's like, you know, it's like it's singing its own thing. It's like the guitar solo is telling its own story.
Yeah.
You're telling a story but when you're playing the same exact solo over every song, that's where I just get, or if you over solo and you're like fucking Yngwie Malmsteen on everything.
Noodling. That's what I call noodling.
It's too much sometimes.
Yep. That's when I think how I use that word, especially on the podcast. When I accuse somebody of noodling, they've gone past the shred into just literal chaos, and it no longer actually sounds good. That's what I call noodling. That's exactly. It's just too much, dude. There's too many notes in there. Like they don't all even fit. Like you're like, who are you trying to impress here? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like, you could have easily gotten laid at the end of the night. What are you trying to get? How many girls are you trying to get? Like, what are you doing? Like, what's your motive here? Like, what's the deal? Like, I don't know, dude. I know exactly what you're talking about, and that shit drives me nuts. That's why most musicians hate lead guitar players, because a lot of them want to do that.
Yeah.
Drummers like to do it too. Like too many fills, too much blah, blah, blah. I even get accused of it as a drummer. They're like, it's too busy. It's too busy. It's like, look, man, like I'm writing this fucking music, right? It's not that I'm playing with other people. If you wrote it and you were like, here's my vibe, I'm like, all right, that's the deal we're going to do. That's this.
And that's,
but if it's like music I'm writing, I'm like, listen, man, being kind of busy is kind of part of my style.
And that's what I liked about nu metal when it was starting out. It was a different, I was starting to pay attention to other instruments that I didn't normally really consider. Like the drummer was supposed to just be there, right? They're there to play the beat. Like, say, for instance, and then the bass player's just doom, 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 doom. But bands like Deftones or Korn, I mean, they're playing these really crazy beats where they're doing all this weird shit on the hi-hat and like the snares just popping. It's like pop, 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 pop. It's just different stuff, and the bass players are slapping and doing all this.
Yeah, they're bringing in like funk and jazz.
Yeah, and it's all, and it's heavy still. And
yeah, it was weird. It was really unique,
and
especially in contrast to the time.
And what I don't understand is how people would call Korn a rap rock band, because he doesn't really rap that much. He does a lot of melodic singing. He does some rapping, I guess, but he didn't. Really,
Jonathan Davis?
Yeah, he doesn't really do a lot of rapping.
So I mean, I know what you mean. He like sort of raps a little bit in the earlier days, like between those first 3 albums. Like but
hit me, clown, because I'm not from your town now. Hit me, clown. Hit
right,
me,
but
clown.
it wasn't really rapping. It was like he did the scat.
Yeah,
he did the scat thing on the one album. Yeah, it was more like nursery rhymes. Like in his verses, it felt like a lot of them were like nursery rhymes, like creepy nursery rhymes, and then like heavy banger ass choruses.
Yeah. And he played bagpipes, which I had to learn how to play.
Yeah, you said, dude, your text message, you're like, I'm going to bring the bagpipes. I was like, wait, for like real bagpipes? You're like, fuck yeah, dude. And I was like, no, absolutely not. My wife will kill us both. Like, my wife will immediately come down here and we'll both be dead.
I've been bagpipe ambushing people, just showing up at random places and like, all of a sudden, bagpipes.
Dude, you should do that, and you should film it, and you should...
I have been, actually.
And you should put it all on Instagram and TikTok.
It's on Facebook. I've done a couple...
Facebook sucks, dude. Put it on Instagram and TikTok.
Instagram?
TikTok
I don't go on Instagram very well.
TikTok and Instagram have the legitimate possibility of actually going viral.
I don't do the TikTok. I don't have a TikTok. I'll look into it.
TikTok's great for short shit.
Not making any promises, though.
TikTok, everything's a minute or less. You can go longer, but don't. That's the whole point of it. It's just really short content. But it has a legitimate chance of going viral really easily. Their algorithm, because it's short content, and people are just ripping through it. It's fucking... Yeah, and that's so specific. Yeah, you just bagpipe ambush people in public.
Oh, yeah.
That's great content for those two mediums, Instagram and TikTok. You do the Reels on Instagram, which is basically the same thing as TikTok. Reels were...
I'm just hoping I don't get punched. I'm just hoping I don't get punched for doing it.
I mean,
I might start a business doing it, though.
Somebody might try to run after you, but that's even better content. Like, that would be amazing.
I can't run and play them.
Try. Again, but everything, all of these are good problems to have when making content, dude. I'm telling you, it's a genius idea. You should do it. Just get one of your buddies, get a decent camera, like somewhere between $300 and $800. That's like your lowest end good camera. And like some fucking, I'll find you.
I think a regular cell phone works just fine.
Yeah, but it's not the same. But it would work fine if you wanted to do it that way. If I saw that it could actually be a thing, but dude, it'll definitely work. Dude, I'm telling you, you just got to get somebody who knows how to like capture the right moment, edit it to the right length, and put it up with the right hashtag. It's those three things, dude. And I'm not a master of it, otherwise I'd tell you how. I just know it's those three things. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You figure those three things out. Let me know, because I got a bunch of great ideas. I haven't figured it out yet. And I'm just so busy with everything else, dude. Like, it's cool, though. It's a good problem to have, like we were talking about earlier. But that's genius. Ambush people in public, playing the bagpipes in public places.
It's gone over real good. So far.
That's what I'm thinking.
Far.
I don't think it's going to go over negatively, but if it does, that's better content. That's hilarious.
Everybody that I play them around just fucking loves them. They're like, dude, I could listen to that all day long. Everybody except for the people I'm related to.
Dude, here's the thing.
The people that I live with. Those kids, the wife.
I love it
the dog.
In a big outdoor space.
I think the cat likes it.
In a big outdoor space, it's awesome. But indoors, I hate it. And I know that I hate it because I had a buddy who learned how to play them, and he used to practice that shit at work. And I wanted to kill him. And dude,
yeah, they're fucking hard to learn, and at first it's gonna sound like you're killing something, and it doesn't matter like how good you get because you're learning, you're listening to somebody learn them for a long time, and as they progress, it doesn't fucking matter because you're already sick of hearing them fuck up, and it's like they're trying to learn. It's like a whole process. It's not just playing the notes. It's putting the air in the bag and squeezing when you're running out of air, but then pushing, blowing the air back in while you let off your arm, and trying to make it so it doesn't cut off any of the notes.
Right, yeah.
And it's you have to like concentrate on that and kind of not really think about what you're playing over here
Right.
And if you focus too much on what you're playing here, which is why you're supposed to learn on a practice chanter for like a year. You're supposed to practice on that, and I pretty much skipped that step.
Pull that microphone back to you again. There you go.
I skipped that whole step. I just like, nope, getting bagpipes now. And then I met up with Steve Hamilton from Old Voltage.
And how many songs do Korn actually play bagpipes on?
Oh, probably a few.
So you're doing all this for,
but
and then how many of those will you end up actually doing on stage? One. So you're doing that's amazing. This is some really legitimate dedication, dude. You're gonna do all that so you can play one fucking song.
Yeah, we're going all the way with this band,
dope,
man.
Dude. That's dope, man.
And it's gonna eventually. I probably shouldn't give away too much about it, but we have other plans for this band.
Yeah. Don't hype them up yet. Just.
We have other bigger plans.
You've planted the seed,
but
and it's June 17th.
June 17th,
dude. I'm actually kind of excited for this.
It's gonna be our second show ever.
Because I was a big Korn fan for about 5 years, and then suddenly one day I woke up and I was like, I hate this. And
I grew out of it.
It definitely had to do with the newer music they were putting out.
Yeah,
because I also didn't become a Korn fan when they came up. Like, I had friends who loved it. I became a Korn fan when they had, like, God, what was it?
Follow
their fourth album out.
Oh, Issues?
Maybe their fifth album. I don't fucking know. But it was way later, and I suddenly liked all of it. And so I got to enjoy all of that library at once, and it was dope. And the whole thing lasted about 5 years for me, and then I was out.
I'm guessing that when they came out with Twisted Transistor, along that time?
I don't know what that is, so probably.
So to me, they had
an album called Look in the Mirror.
I fell in love with them with their first album, and their second album was good too, and their third album I thought was amazing. And their fourth album I started hearing, I'm like, I felt at the time, I was like, they're starting to sell out, aren't they? And then I heard Twisted Transistor, I'm like, oh, they sold out. There goes Korn, rest in peace. And I didn't get it at the time, but now I get it. I like that song now. At the time, I didn't like it because it sounded like they're just trying to appease the radio crowd.
They had an album, I think it was like Look in the Mirror or Take a Look in the Mirror or some shit like that.
But what's stupid about me is that I like pop music. I like a lot of pop music, and like Britney Spears, for instance.
Yeah,
I don't hide from that either. But like when my metal bands, my rock bands start sounding more popish, I start going, like when Metallica put out Load, I was like, fuck is this? Why did they do that? That was unnecessary.
Yeah, I actually liked it, but I don't like that.
You're a little bit younger than me, though.
Yeah.
Everybody my age that liked Metallica, when they put out Load, we're like, who are these Load guys putting out an album called Metallica?
That's still how I feel about it. Like, I still wish they would have just like started a different band for a few years because they needed to change up their deal. I don't like that they put that out under that name because it's not Metallica. It's the guys in Metallica doing something else.
But Def Leppard did the same thing too. They put out an album called Slang in the 90s.
Didn't Kiss do it too?
Huh?
Didn't Kiss do it too?
Oh, I'm sure they did.
Didn't Kiss do a weird album at the end of the 80s or early 90s?
Oh, I'm sure they did. So Def Leppard's, it shouldn't even be called Def Leppard. They were just going for a more organic, not processed sound, and they were doing the whole alternative music wave thing. Yeah. And it sounded like shit. They have one good song, and it's called Slang. That's my only good. That's the only song I like on that whole album. The rest of them are all just like slow and depressing. And I'm like, "Fuck is this? This is not Def Leppard. This isn't who Def Leppard is. Def Leppard's fun, or it's a sappy love song.
Yeah,
it's got to be one of those two. And that sappy love song is gonna grab you by the balls and go, "Have you ever needed someone so bad?" You gotta have one of those ballads on there. You can't have this Dark and dirty, like you never seen. I don't want to think that Joe Elliott's shooting up heroin. Not that he wasn't doing that, but I mean, it was like he was trying to sound like that.
Yeah, he was trying to emulate the
that whole depressing sound.
I hated that shit. So your favorite band was Def Leppard.
Def Leppard.
But you're obviously a huge Korn fan because you're starting this tribute band, or you started the tribute.
Yeah,
it's happening, baby. Have you guys already played a show?
Yes.
Okay.
We played. I believe that was last month.
Oh, okay.
We played it at the red carpet. That was our first show ever.
Is that St. Cloud still?
Yep. Yeah,
I can't remember if I played there. And obviously that's not the one that burnt down.
No, that was the press. If you played there in a not cover band, an original band, it would have probably been the Rocks.
That sounds more familiar.
Yeah, because that's by the red carpet, I believe.
Somebody I'm in a band with would literally have to tell me and remind me.
Because the Rocks plays...
If we ever played in St. Cloud or at either of those clubs, or if I'm just remembering going to a show that one of my buddies was playing.
Because I played the Rocks when I was in ADD, and
interesting.
I was kind of in another group called Apocalypse Theater for a little bit.
I remember that band name. That's a cool band name. Yeah.
And they went by Apox for short.
Yeah.
So I went from APOD to ADD to Apox. I can't have any normal spelling of any name.
They're all like
nothing can be spelled right either.
I
mean, Rock Godz is spelled with a Z.
Yeah, I mean, you got to figure out some way to create some sort of branding, and band names are hard. That's the thing is like, I'm really like,
you get
I
really
talk a lot
sensitive.
of shit.
You could name your band anything if it fucking rocks.
I talk a lot of shit about band names, and I give a lot of praise to band names because they're so fucking hard. And it's just, sometimes it's obvious that guys settle. Like, it's a difference between not hitting a home run, and then there's some of them where I'm like, man,
I'm almost convinced that
there's 5 of you that approved that band name. And then you spent a lot of money on t-shirts. Like, somewhere along the line, somebody should have told you this is a terrible band name, but nobody did. And I'm not saying any of yours are actually like that.
Oh, like, they're dumb. They're fucking dumb. I know they are.
They're not great, but I understand, like, they make sense, and they're not bad. Like, none of the band names you're talking about that you were in are actually bad, except maybe KoBb. But
I liked APOD.
But that's what I'm saying. APOD is fine. Apocalypse Theater, that's actually a dope band name. That's actually a fucking cool band name. The shortening of it, Apox, that's kind of dumb, but I also get it because you want something that's like short and succinct. I get it, man. Like, I understand. I didn't come up with any good band names until way later in my career. I came up with the Tyrants. That's a dope ass band name. Couldn't believe it wasn't taken. That's actually about it. I still can't decide now if the project I'm going to work on now, if it should be Rivalry or The Rivalry.
Rivalry?
Yeah, like Rivalry.
Rivalry?
No, like Rivalry.
Rivalry.
Like, I don't know why you keep saying it like that. Rivalry.
I'm trying to
Rivalry.
Enunciate the L.
Like Green Bay, Minnesota Rivalry.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Rivalry. Rivalry.
Rivalry.
Rivalry.
Rivalry.
Rivalry. No, I just can't decide if it should be Rivalry or The Rivalry. And it's funny because no matter how many people I ask, no matter how big the sample survey gets, which now I'm probably 1,000, 1,500 people deep, it's still 50-50.
I would take the out. I would just go with Rivalry. Because the seems to be kind of like back in the 60s when everybody was The Who, The Beatles.
That's why I was going after it, because I love that.
Yeah, but it was perfect for that time. And then they stopped doing that.
The Scorpions.
But they're also Scorpions.
Are they?
Yeah.
That's a key part. Because there's a period of time, too, where, because the Beatles are both. A lot of people don't know this. A lot of people, the Beatles literally trademarked both, with the word the and without it. That's what I think I'm going to eventually do. But I don't remember, because I think it's only one album it actually appears differently.
Oh, who is it? Why can't I think of their name?
And
Eagles!
And I think it's Rolling Stones, but everyone says the Rolling Stones. I think you're right. I think it's just Eagles, but everyone says the Eagles.
No, they go by the Eagles too.
Do they?
Yeah, I confirmed that myself by looking it up, because I called them the Eagles, and my old singer at the time was like, they're actually called Eagles. Like, oh, okay. And I don't know how many times we go somewhere, play, let's hear it for the Rock Gods! And I'm like, not the, we're just Rock Gods. Rock Gods.
See, and that's why I wonder,
That's all
like,
butt metal.
that's why I wonder if I probably will just trademark both.
Not butt metal.
Because neither one is trademarked. There's some shitty ass little local bands with those names. I don't give a fuck. If they ain't trademarked, it ain't, you don't know shit. You know what I mean? Especially if you're not actually doing anything. Like, if you're doing shit with your name, I ain't gonna try to jump in and steal it from you. That's just fucking weird. But like, if it's some band that put out like 4 songs on MySpace in 2001 and they don't have their name trademarked, you have every ethical right to go grab that name from the USPTO. Like, there's
a lot of
But I'll probably grab both and then decide later after people refer to it, right? Because you just mentioned it, like, they call you the Rock Gods. Why not just lean into it? Why not just be the Rock God?
But we were Rock Gods.
See, you're proving my point. So if I trademark both and then let the people decide, and then that's the one I just roll with. Because instead of trying to fight the current, just fucking trademark them both. That's probably what I'll do.
But these amps go to 11.
You see what I'm saying, though? Because, like, I can't make up my fucking mind. We'll just decide what people call us on a regular basis, if we're Rivalry or the Rivalry.
It sounds like you're saying rivalry.
Is it? Does it sound like I'm saying rivalry? Like I'm fucking doing
rivalry,
like a racist Asian impression?
Yeah.
Oh, hello, we're the Rivalry.
I heard that's...
Canceled. I just got canceled.
Oh, what band was that?
I just got the notification. Career canceled.
Sorry, bro.
It's unfortunate. YouTube and Twitch are quick now.
What was that band that the Loudness?
That's a great band.
You know who they're from? Japan?
Never heard of them.
You've never heard of the Loudness? Okay, so they're
well, I've heard of them. You just told me about them.
The Japan. Okay, yeah. Now you've heard of them. So they're an 80s hair band from Japan, and they opened for Motley Crue, and my old drummer told me that he went and saw them open for them, and when they were done, they're like, "We're Loudness! Get ready for Motley Crue!" I don't know why that's so funny. They just have problems when you speak a certain language all your life. You don't.
Is that the same band that used to yell "Rock and Road," like Lock and Load? Rock and Road.
I don't know.
And everyone thought they were saying rock and roll. I've heard stories about that band, like this old 80s band that used to open up for people. I bet you it's the same band. I bet you it is. Because I used to have dudes I was in a band with that used to tell that story.
I think it just depends on. It's not even about like the race. It's about how the language is spoken.
Yeah, no,
it has to do with how you're.
It's not actually racist. Anybody says
how your tongue develops when you speak a certain language, your native language or whatever, your first language, and then you don't pronounce L's as much. Like you talk with the front of your tongue more in English than you do another language where you talk with the back of your tongue.
If it's racist for me to make fun of the fact that certain Asian people don't pronounce their L's, then it's racist anytime anybody of any color makes fun of a French guy for his accent, or an Italian,
I get made fun of for
or a Russian, accent. Or a Minnesotan. You know, oh, hey, you betcha. Like, fuck you. Like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not allowing this fucking thing, this world I live in, my version of the world, I'm not allowing this thing where suddenly like we start setting precedents where making fun of somebody for the way they talk is racist. No, it might be fucked up. But it's not racist. No, we're not going that far. That's too much. That's too much.
I remember talking to this girl on a long distance phone call from England, and she said, "You sound like a mixture of Californian and Canadian." I'm like, close.
That makes sense, yeah.
Because I am originally from California. I grew up there, and then I moved here where we're really close to Canada.
Canada, yeah.
Or C&D. I'm convinced that their original name is CND, but we asked them how to spell it, and they said CANADA. That was so stupid. I heard it stupid as it was coming out of my mouth. Can you tell I'm a parent?
I don't have anything that I need to say in response to that.
No, you don't.
Just rip it and clip it, baby. Pressing the clip button.
Can you delete that?
Rip it and clip it. No, that's going on YouTube. That's going on TikTok. See, now you have to start releasing Instagram and TikTok content because I'm going to, and I don't even
know how to fucking use Instagram. I go on there and try
I'll show you.
Oh,
it's
man.
easy. It's easy once you actually understand what the fuck you're supposed to be doing on there. What most of us do is like,
every time I get on there, all I see is boobs, and I'm like,
that's a great part of Instagram.
and then I'm like,
that's a great part of Instagram.
Why did I get on Instagram?
So I'll tell you, as a guitar player, I'm going to tell you this right now.
I could have just went to Pornhub.
Listen to me. As a guitar player, brother, Instagram is where some of the tastiest riffage is. Like you get into, so first of all, go on Instagram and like everything that appeals to you and literally skip as fast as possible anything you're not interested in. You do that for about a week or two and the Instagram will figure out what to send you, right?
Aaron texted me.
So it's literally like guitar videos. You know, they're a minute or two long, and they're fucking dope. Aaron, what the fuck, dude? Why are you going to text my guest while he's on the podcast, you son of a bitch? That's rude. Look, see, now he's on his phone, texting with you, instead of talking to me and the
you're right, actually. Look, that's the guy from Castor Valor right there, playing some guitar.
Crazy. That's tasty riffage.
And this is really weird, but I am not seeing any boobs. This is like the first time I've opened up Instagram and I'm not seeing softcore porn.
But dude, it's dope. It's dope. That's where all the tasty riffage is.
There's Dan Knight.
Oh, nice.
Huh. There's a save button where you can watch it later. Is that this
it's
thing?
in the bottom right. Yep. Saved.
I'm gonna save that. I'm gonna come back.
See, now you have to start.
How do you post on here? What do you?
I'll show you later. I'm not gonna.
I've done it
We're
before,
not gonna do it on
but
the podcast.
Every time I try to do it, I'm just like, what? Where do I go? And then I get distracted by everything.
I'll tell you what. Let's wrap this up. Let's plug your show one more time, and then I'll show you. We'll make a post together because I'm gonna clip this up and all the hilarious shit you said, and I'm gonna have clips of you on Instagram and TikTok. You need to start putting out your own content too. Especially the ambushing people with bagpipes, because
teaching me how to be famous on the internet again.
Dude, it's so easy.
Interweb.
I don't know about being famous, but just making the
internet
posts.
Famous.
And then, like I said, you figure out the other part, which is like how you have to think about the cover band, what songs at what tempos, blah blah. That's how it kind of works as well. And once you crack that, you'll be able to make anything you want.
I don't have to worry about that anymore. We're just covering one band right now.
Talking about your fucking bagpipe idea, genius. So let's plug your show one more time. It's June 17th at Route 47.
Yep.
With
Castor Valor and Plague of Stars.
There we go. Nice. And the links are down below. You can follow his band KoBb and the other bands if you want. And you can also follow him on Facebook. That link is also in the description for me. Make sure you guys join the Patreon if you haven't already. If you're new here, if this is the first time you're joining us, make sure you hit the subscribe. Make sure you hit the subscribe button on YouTube, and it's the purple follow button on Twitch. That's all we got for you. Dude, this was a blast, man. You want to do this again?
Fuck yeah.
I forget. Do you drink at all?
Oh, yeah.
You do. Next time we'll do some beers.
I'll have to take the next day off of work.